race announcer Jerry Punch. And Jerry, we talked 600 miles for a stock car race. That's 100 miles longer than these drivers normally run. It's tough, and it probably changes strategy just a little bit.
It will change the strategy. This is the longest and most grueling event on the Winston Cup Tour. You have to be around at the end to have a good finish and to have a shot at winning. You really got to nurse that equipment for 600 miles.
You're looking live from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise. And Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions exclusive live coverage of the Coca-Cola 600 is brought to you by 33 laps complete. We will run 400 laps today to make up the Coca-Cola 600. Lake Speed posted as the leader out of that caution, but Bill Elliott in car number 9 has just passed him to take the lead. Richard Petty earlier this week crashed his race car. Had to start car number 6 today in DK Ulrich. That car has just gone out of the race. Let's go down now to our Goodwrench pits, and we will go to Steve Martin, a local broadcaster here in Charlotte, North Carolina, one of our Goodwrench pit reporters today. And Steve, what's the story down there with Richard Petty?
Well, start number 997 was rather unorthodox. It was a strange week for Richard Petty, and it has to end this afternoon. What happened, Richard?
I think we dropped the valve coming down the front stretch, and then we came back in the pit and checked it, turned the engine off, and then it wouldn't fire back up again. So I think the valve got on top of the piston. I think that's really what happened.
Physically, how are you? You've had a rough week starting with Friday. How did it feel in there on the laps that you had in the car?
It was kind of hot, that's for sure, but we ran along pretty good. We hadn't got the lap down about 100 laps, so we felt like we were doing pretty decent with the car and just quit on it.
Well, I know 1,000 is around the horizon, but I know you wanted to get a win here today in Charlotte, but best of luck to you the rest of the season.
Okay, we'll be back next time.
All right, we're going back up to Mike Hogwood for more race action.
Well, you see there the race for the lead. Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott, car number 9. Those two cars, Jerry Punch, have not won a regular tour race this year. The defending champion of this race is Darrell Waltrip. Bill Elliott needs a win. Those two are where they want to be up front of this 600-mile race.
And Bill Elliott's team has really been rejuvenated here with the return of Ernie Elliott, the senior member of the Elliott gang, the Elliott brothers. 38-year-old Ernie has been ill all year long, but he flew here yesterday afternoon. He was in the garage last night, and this morning he's behind pit wall. And Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, who won 11 times last year, is back at the point here at the World 600.
You see car number 25 in the picture now. That is Tim Richmond. He started on the front row on the outside, the number 2 starting position. He now puts his car in front of Bill Elliott. Richmond has led most of the day today. You also see the number 3 car of Dale Earnhardt. Some early handling problems for Dale, but he's now running 4th. And it's quite a battle now as Tim Richmond comes across the start-finish line. He is running in first place right now. Richmond has taken over the lead. And now let's meet another one of our Goodwrench pit reporters today. A veteran race broadcaster, covers most of these NASCAR Winston Cup events. He's one of the main announcers on the Motor Racing Network. Let's go down now to Mike Joy.
I'm in the pits of Tim Richmond with veteran crew chief Harry Hyde. They have led most of this race today as Harry calls pit times to Tim on the radio. Harry's managed to lose the lead on the caution period, but you're satisfied the way he's running?
Yeah, we're running just the way we want to run right now, to tell you the truth. We're playing a little bit conservative, but we still want to stay in the lead.
Richmond has led most of the first 100 of the 400 laps here at Charlotte. They've made a pit stop on every caution flag to change 4 tires, and all the teams have made 1 pit stop under the green flag where they've taken on just gasoline and right side tires. Back upstairs.
138 laps complete here in Charlotte. Tim Richmond is the leader. He is beginning to pull away now by some 8-10 car lengths, and the car really making a move down low on the inside. It's Rusty Wallace in car number 27. As they come off turn 4, head down the front straightaway. Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott side by side, and it's Wallace just a nose ahead in second place. Rusty Wallace really driving well now. The driver out of Trinity, North Carolina. Bill Elliott pulls back in front of him up on the high side of the racetrack as David Pearson comes down pit road now. Elliott and Wallace fighting for second place, and Gary, Rusty Wallace, really one of the names of the future in this Winston Cup Series.
He certainly is. He's a former ASA champion in '83. He won the Champion Spark Plug Rookie of the Year honors on the Winston Cup Tour in '84, and he picked up his first ever Winston Cup win up in Bristol International Raceway on April 6th in the Valleydale 500. So he's hoping to have a good run. He has a good shot here today.
He sure does, and he is running strong now. You see Darrell Waltrip again. He's the defending champion back in front of 11. Car 5 is Jeff Bodine. Now, Jeff started on the pole. If Jeff should win today, he will win an extra $100,000 and keep alive a chance for the Winston Million, as would Bobby Allison in car 22. And the third member of our Goodwrench Pit Report crew is a former driver on the Busch Grand National Circuit. He knows what it takes to get around here in Charlotte. Let's go down to pit road now in Glen Jarrett.
Well, unfortunately, Mike,
I must not know quite enough, or I might be out there today instead of down here. However, we're having a good time here in the pits today. Caution flags have been the order of the day so far. Tim Richmond has had by far the dominant car so far, but there have been so many caution periods, and it has given everybody else a chance to come in, try to make those adjustments, to try to catch up to Tim. Nobody's been able to do it so far. Harry Gant has run very strong. On occasion, they have had to make some chassis adjustments on his car. Darrell Waltrip almost got down the lap early, but due to a timely caution flag, was able to get back up into the lead lap. So thus far, the story has been the dominance of the Tim Richmond number 25 Folgers coffee machine car and the number of caution flags that have enabled everybody else to stay close.
And there appear to be serious problems on the David Pearson car. His car is very, very slow, and he'll take a hard left turn into the garage. There you see the separation, the little dot out in front. That is Tim Richmond's car. And back in the back, you see Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott fighting for second place. And there is quite a difference between the first place car from Richmond and the second place cars. And here is the way they stand. 140 of 400 laps complete. Richmond is the leader. Then it's Bill Elliott. Rusty Wallace is running third in car 27. Darrell Waltrip, the defending champion, is fourth. And Jeff Bodine is the pole winner. This shot from our Goodyear Blimp Enterprise, Dr. Jim Maloney, the pilot at the controls today.
Darrell Waltrip down trying to make a move in on the inside. His car slipping up a little bit in the corners as Bill Elliott runs the high groove. That's Rusty Wallace in the blue and silver room with car number 27 on the low groove. Pretty good battle back in the pack for second spot. But, you know, Mike, when these cars run side by side, that gives Tim Richmond a chance to pull away. And pull away he is doing, as Richmond has put some 15, maybe 18 car lengths on the second place car.
We're still almost 60 laps away from the halfway point of this race. Is Tim Richmond really showing everything he's got right now, punching that throttle all the way and extending that car to get around this racetrack?
Well, you heard Mike Joy talking to Harry Hyde a little bit ago, and Harry Hyde's a veteran crew chief that's had Buddy Baker and Bobby Isaac and a lot of people who've been awfully successful in this circuit over the years. And I'm sure Harry Hyde would not let loose the reins on Richmond if he didn't feel confident that the car could take it. And Richmond, if he's not showing his hand, then he must have an awfully strong horse, as Tim Richmond really now showing the distance between himself and the second place car.
And making a move now, the gentleman who won this race in the fall, car number 28, that is Cale Yarborough. He's now running third, trying to put a move on Bill Elliott as they come across the start-finish line, and Cale Yarborough is going to shoot past him as they go into turn one. It'll be Yarborough now in second place. Bill Elliott's running third, and look at Rusty Wallace, some fantastic racing here, and Elliott up high on the racetrack, slides back all the way into the fifth position, or fourth place rather, and it is Yarborough, Wallace, and Elliott, 2, 3, and 4. Cale Yarborough never won this race, really showing some muscle.
Well, Cale Yarborough came from a lap down earlier this afternoon. He lost a lap on an unscheduled stop at the pits and was a lap down. He had to fight hard to get that lap back, and now he's moving in. He's taking over second spot.
Let's go down to our Goodrich pit reporter, Steve Martin, who's standing by with the old Silver Fox, David Pearson, who just came out of the race.
Man with 105 wins to his Winston Cup career, out of the race this afternoon. David, what happened?
I guess it broke a head gas, busted a head gasket or something, because on the restart, I've been running about 230, somewhere along there and walking to it. And on the restart, when I go up straight away, I just paid the gauge all the way over about 280. And when I dug off to the corners, it come back down, so I'm sure it was a head gasket.
Well, it's really unfortunate because this has been a good week for you. You qualified well, and you were running well early in the race.
I was. Of course, to start with, we had a little handling problem. We had the car too tight. But we kept loosening it up on every stop, and I was happy with the way the car was running. We had it good, so we felt like we had a good chance of winning today.
David Pearson, three-time Winston Cup Grand National Champion, out of the race this afternoon on the 21 car.
Short day for David Pearson. A lot of fans here are disappointed. 147 laps complete. Tim Richmond's the leader. Cale Yarborough's running second, and we will return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway after these messages. Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions brings you live coverage of the Coca-Cola 600. Mike Hogwood along with Jerry Punch. We have completed 151 laps here. Tim Richmond is the leader, and Bulldog Cale Yarborough is gaining ground, and quickly. You see now the separation between first and second place has shortened considerably, Jerry Punch. Cale Yarborough is really running strong here this afternoon.
You know, Cale felt awfully good about his chances here earlier in the week. We talked to him, and he felt that maybe he had a good shot at it. He and Waddell Wilson, his veteran crew chief, thought the car would be running awfully strong, and that's the case. He's come from a lap down to run second now, some 2 car lengths back from Tim Richmond.
151 laps complete, and look at Yarborough now. Yarborough on the high side of the racetrack. Yarborough wants the lead away from Tim Richmond, and Cale Yarborough fighting and battling and clawing for the lead. Tim Richmond won't let him have it down low on the racetrack. Richmond running high earlier in the race. Now it's Yarborough running current pit reporter Mike Joy is standing by in the Bill Elliott pit. Elliott is currently running fourth in this race. Michael?
Well, I'm standing in a sea of Goodyear tires. On the far side of the screen are the right side tires, and here are the left side tires. There are about 40 of them ready to go on Bill Elliott's car. What differentiates one from the other? Let's take a close look. The tire compound is marked by Goodyear up on the tire. These are 1282s. By NASCAR rule, they have to go on the left side of the car. This tire is from set A, the way the chalk mark is here, and we see that it's a left rear tire. Pencil in is the tire circumference, 88 3/4 inches. To get a 3/8 inch stagger from one side of the car to the other, they'd have to pick out a right rear tire that would measure about 89 1/8. By looking at these markings, measuring the circumference, and checking the pressures of the tires, Ernie Elliott and his crew can determine what combination of tires can best go on that car to improve the handling when Bill makes his pit stops.
Thanks, Michael. 153 laps complete. Tim Richmond, Cale Yarborough are 1 and 2. Here's the 150 lap summary. 225 miles and 600 complete. We've had 5 caution flags for 18 laps. There have been 20 lead changes among 18 drivers. Our average speed, 133.421 miles an hour. It's been a pretty quick Coca-Cola 600 today.
Mike, you might want to tell some of the folks the caution flags. Ken Reagan spun early on. Brad Teague was involved in a spin and damaged his car. Joe Rutland's car was damaged, and they had to go to the garage for a lengthy stay. His car, the Quaker State Buick, now back on the Speedway. Connie Saylor and Eddie Bierswell got together up in turn 4. They tagged each other for a spin, and Bill Parsons produced a spin, and Chet Phillips spun over in turn 2. That's the 5 cautions we've had thus far. No major incidents thus far, and not that much attrition.
Let's talk strategy for a minute between Tim Richmond and Cale Yarborough. Cale's up where he wants to be, near the front. He's a charger, an aggressive race driver. Is he going to try to make a move now and go ahead and extend the car and take the leader away from Tim, or do you think he's going to be content to ride in second place for a while?
Well, they're paying some pretty good lap leader bonus awards, but Cale also realizes that he and Tim Richmond have been able to pull away from the rest of the field. They no longer have to worry about Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott and Darrell Waltrip and the like back in the field. So as long as they can stay together with nose to tail, they can continue to pull away. You know, you notice the groove that Yarborough runs up on the high part of the racetrack. The Ford seems to run better when you keep the RPMs up. They don't really have the torque whenever you grind it down on the bottom of the racetrack and have to get back in the gas. The Chevrolet, or the General Motors cars, can get down on the bottom of the racetrack, get in the brakes and get back on the gas, and seem to come off pretty well. But Cale needs to keep the car wound up pretty tight and run the high groove.
Richmond and Yarborough now working on some slower traffic. Rookie driver Mike Waltrip will be passed in just a moment, and they do get by him. Tim Richmond in car number 25 out of Ashland, Ohio. He's 30 years old. He won yesterday. You see them going by Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip's younger brother, number 23. Waltrip, by the way, leads the rookie points race in car number 23. As we said, Richmond from Ashland, Ohio. It's his first year with the Rick Hendrick team and Harry Hyde and his crew team, and it does take a little bit of time. As you see, Richmond get a little squirrely, and Cale Yarborough is going to take that advantage to get by him. As they cross the start-finish line, now headed to turn 1. The lead has swapped hands for a moment. Cale Yarborough is now out in front of Tim Richmond. Richmond might be content to just duck in behind him and settle for second place, as Tim Richmond seemed to get a little bit loose on the racetrack, and his car got squirrely just for a moment, and that was just the break that Yarborough needed to stay along by.
That's all it takes coming out of turn 4, going by some lap traffic, and Richmond's car bobbled just a little bit. It looked like the tail on a dog wagon back there, the rear of the car bounced back and forth, and Yarborough took the advantage. Now, Cale Yarborough running closely to the wall, running very close to the wall out of turn 4, but his Ford is handling quite well. He won here back in October. He made up 5 different times. He made up a 1-lap deficit, so he knows what it is. He has never won this World 600. He's won 3 times here at Charlotte, Mike, but never in this event.
You know, they call some racetracks a handling racetrack, other racetracks a horsepower racetrack. What would you classify Charlotte?
Well, Charlotte is definitely a handling racetrack. I mean, you have to have a motor out there to pull the car around, but you got to have the car dialed in. A lot of these cars, we've seen the race change so much already. Harry Gant was a dominant factor early on, but now his car really isn't handling that well. Neither is Earnhardt. But one car that has been dialed in is Cale Yarborough. The car running awfully well on the racetrack. You know, and Waddell Wilson, who is a veteran crew chief on that car, you know, he is responsible for making that car work. And, you know, last October they were here, and I said they lost the lap 5 different times. Well, Waddell and Cale got together and said, we can't give up. We just got to keep plugging. And not only did they come back for a good finish, they came back and won that National 500.
Well, they did, and he got a lap down today. We might add Cale Yarborough did in front. And here's the attrition board today. David Pearson, as you see, out with engine failure. Chet Phillip, former IndyCar driver, out with an accident on lap 129. Richard Petty out in that number 6 car. Greg Sachs had a wreck, got severe sheet damage to the car. They're still working on that car in the garage, by the way. Brad Teague out with an accident. He came back in for a few moments. Kenny Reagan out with an accident on lap 5. Reagan was the first car to depart from this Coca-Cola 600 today. And there's the leader, Cale Yarborough, in car number 28. And right behind him will be Tim Richmond in car number 25. Yarborough out of Timminsville, South Carolina. No longer runs full-time here on the Winston Cup circuit, but he's still around long enough and is quite a competitor at the age of 46. He's proven that 46 is definitely not over the hill. Cale can still get out there and run with the best of them.
You know, they had a pretty tough start this year. They went to Daytona with a brand new race car that Harry Ranier and J.T. Lundy had put together the car for that car, and the car qualified really well, but it was destroyed in a practice crash with Bobby Hillen down there, and they ran the 125-mile qualifiers, and in the race they destroyed another car. So they certainly had a rough beginning for 86.
There's Rusty Wallace, car number 27, Bill Elliott, car number 9. Right behind him, Darrell Waltrip, defending champion, in car number 11. Those 3 cars running 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and they have been battling it out now for, a good 20 laps or so, as Rusty Wallace right now seems to have the best of things and maintains hold on that number 3 position. Also a call to Morgan Shepherd, who is back running in 6th right now. Morgan Shepherd has had quite a run today in car number 47, the Race Hill Farms Buick. But for right now, it is Rusty Wallace who is running 3rd, and those 3 cars have a long way to go to run down Tim Richmond and Cale Yarborough. But for right now, they are among the leaders, among the top 5, and still have a chance to win here today in the Coca-Cola 600.
Well, Rusty Wallace, you know, is one of the promising young drivers on the circuit. He's 29 years old, and he's an up-and-coming young driver from St. Louis, Missouri. He got his first Winston Cup win after a number of starts earlier in the year up in Bristol, Tennessee, and he really feels good about the way the Blue Max, the Aluguard team, the Pontiac is running. Raymond Beadle, the drag racer, is the car owner on that team, and they feel like they got a good shot at picking up some more wins down the road.
Rusty Wallace has 1 win this year, as you said, and Rusty Wallace won at Bristol. There's Cale Yarborough. Again, he's the leader right now, and our Goodwrench pit reporter Glenn Jarrett is standing behind the Cale Yarborough pits.
Standing alongside of Waddell Wilson, crew chief on the Hardy Ford. Waddell's been kind of an uphill struggle so far.
Well, you know, it started out like last fall in the National 500. Right off, we had a right rear go flat. We had to stop. That put us a lap down. Then was able to get our lap back on the caution. Then we've adjusted on the car, and we got it pretty much neutral at the present time, if the weather doesn't change.
Well, this has been, I know, a frustrating year for you so far. Maybe you can turn it around here in front of the hometown folks.
Well, you know, this would be a great place to win if possible, and we need a win for the Ford people right now anyway, and the Hardy's fans.
Okay, that's Waddell Wilson, the crew chief on Cale Yarborough's Hardy's Ford number 28.
One of the best crew chiefs, one of the best engine builders in the business. 166 laps are complete here in Charlotte. Cale Yarborough's the leader. Tim Richmond's running 2nd. We'll return live. Hogwood, along with Jerry Punch, back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Cale Yarborough still the leader in car number 28. Tim Richmond is running 2nd. Rusty Wallace 3rd, having a great run today. Bill Elliott is 4th, and Darrell Waltrip rounds out the top 5. 170 of 400 laps are complete, and Cale Yarborough seems to be the car to beat right now. Jerry Punch, it has been a hot, muggy day today. It's been overcast since the start of this race. Looks like there might be a chance of thunder showers. We'll keep our fingers crossed that there won't be any. But this is not a good day to be in the cockpit of a race car because it will get awfully hot with these weather conditions.
Well, it gets awfully hot, Mike, and it also gets awfully humid. And a lot of these drivers have found this new cool suit that they wear, which is simply they wrap themselves in this rubber bladder that goes over the scalp and around their torso, around the trunk, and it's attached to a box behind the cockpit area of the car where the driver sits that's filled with ice. And that circulates with a fan motor. It circulates cool water through that suit, and it lasts about 3 to 3.5 hours and keeps the driver fairly cool.
171 laps now on the board, and you see Bill Elliott going high on the racetrack, fighting for position with Rusty Wallace, but Wallace has the strength to hold him back. Rusty is now in 3rd. Our Goodwrench pit reporter, Glenn Jarrett, is standing by the Rusty Wallace pit. Glenn, Rusty having a great ride here today.
Well, he certainly is, and we're standing alongside of Barry Dotson, the crew chief on that number 27 Aluguard Pontiac. Barry, how things been going up to now?
Pretty good. The car's a little bit tight. The Aluguard Pontiac's running good. Harold's got us a good engine. We just need for Cale and Tim to stop, get a hamburger and a cup of coffee, and let us get caught up a little bit.
he's wishing they would stop for a little break there. Of course, this team has run very, very strong in the last few weeks. Won a race at Bristol back last month, so they're looking for big things here today.
I have a feeling, though, that Cale and Tim are going to have nothing of that. They want to win a race just as much as Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott do.
Well, you know, Cale hasn't won since October here last year, and Tim Richmond hasn't won a race in 2 years. His last win was, gosh, back April of '84 up at Wilkesboro on a short track. So, you know, that was with, in fact, Richmond's win was in the same car that Rusty Wallace is driving here today. It's the blue Max car that Raymond Beadle owns. So, you know, that car there, and Rusty Wallace was really tickled to get that ride. He had been running for Champion Spark Plug rookie in the Cliff Stewart car and left the Cliff Stewart last year. That team has since folded, and Rusty Wallace's stock has gone up considerably since he's climbed in that blue Max car with Barry Dodson and the guys of the crew.
Some great racing now as they come around into turn 2, and Bill Elliott is going to shoot ahead of Rusty Wallace. Elliott will take third place away from Rusty Wallace. Cale Yarborough, though, is the leader, and of course we heard a moment ago from Waddell Wilson. We spoke with Waddell Wilson about his secret to success in building engines.
Thing was right, you could make more horsepower. Now, a place like Charlotte, the barometer don't change a lot, but every morning when I come to the racetrack, I'll still look at the barometer to see if it's changed from the day before. And a lot of times, if it's going up or down, I'll change the jetting accordingly to make sure that I've got the engine ready to run that day and not have to question it. Especially if Cale gets out there and wants to run maybe 8 or 10 laps, I don't want to stand there and worry about, well, am I going to burn a piston, or is the engine going to perform right and run well enough? So I try to keep it tuned as, you know, at that point close. But then on race day, you'll back up a little bit. And as far as the carburation, you don't want to guess, well, will it make it or will it not? You always go on the safe side with your carburation, your heat range, your spark plugs, your ignition timing. And all of these, you want to make sure that you can go the 500 miles. Say you get a change in your engine temperature, you goes up. Well, then that's going to lean an engine out. So you've got to have that margin there to play with. So there's so many things you think about race day, just like when you're getting ready to qualify. It's just like you was going to Pikes Peak, say. Okay, when you go up, your pressure is going to drop, and you're going to come down with barometric pressure, and therefore you're going to, you know, you can lean your engine out because you don't have the oxygen. The more pressure you have, the more horsepower you're going to produce, but then you're going to have to put the fuel in it to go with it.
That's Waddell Wilson, the crew chief on the Cale Yarborough car.
You know, Waddell was one of the first people to develop looking at the weather conditions and using the barometric pressure. In fact, they've got a little mini weather station in the back of that Hardee's rig, and every morning when he comes to the racetrack, he goes in and checks the barometer to see what the pressure is, looks at the humidity, looks at the temperature, and he goes out and makes an adjustment on the car so to make sure that he is just right to get the amount of power he needs out of that engine given the appropriate weather conditions.
The difference now between Cale Yarborough and the second-place car, Tim Richmond, almost 3 seconds. It is almost 13 seconds back to the third-place car of Bill Elliott, car number 9. I know you had a chance earlier this week to even visit with Ernie Elliott. He came in yesterday. It's certainly good to see Ernie back at the racetrack because Ernie has just had some problems this year physically with mononucleosis, and a lot of people are glad to see him around. And I know it's been a big boost for Bill Elliott here today to have Ernie back there.
Well, it's you know, Bill mentioned that losing Ernie is like losing one of the team, and Ernie was, you just can't replace someone like Ernie that's so valuable to that team. You know, Ernie went to Daytona in February, and he had a real bad flu, and he tells me, he says, I just don't think I ever got over the flu. I was so sick, and I got weaker and weaker, and I lost a lot of weight, and I just had to stay home and get well. He's still weak, but he's here in Charlotte, and he's ready to get back in victory lane with Brother Bill.
Well, Ernie's on the headsets today with Bill, but the guy who took his place in that interim period was brother Dan Elliott, and Dan is now standing by with our good Ring Fit reporter, Steve Martin.
Well, Mike, I tell you, now that Ernie Elliott's back, there's no one happier to see him back than Dan Elliott. Dan, how's it feel to be just kind of kicking your heels back today?
I don't think I'm that comfortable today. The car's running okay right now. We've only run about 180 laps, and there's a lot of racing left to go.
What's Bill doing right now? Seems to be biding his time, battling for that third position.
Yeah, he's comfortable where he's running. The car's getting around good, and we're just kind of pacing the race.
That's what you got to do when you're running 600 miles here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Dan Elliott keeping track of things, while Ernie Elliott does the bulk of the work as the crew chief for the number 9 car this afternoon.
Bill Elliott currently in third place, 181 laps complete. 200 will mark the halfway point of this Coca-Cola 600. 600 miles, a long way to go. At least 100 miles more than these cars normally run. Pit stop should be coming up in the next couple of laps here, Jerry, as we have some word from some of the cars that they may be bringing their cars in, and there's a little bit of stirring down on pit road. We'll keep an eye out for that. But for the moment, Cale Yarborough and Tim Richmond are the leaders. And you see our in-car camera now as the leaders come up on them. That is the Red Baron Pizza car, number 90 of Kenny Schrader. We certainly appreciate Kenny carrying our in-car camera on board today, his Red Baron Pizza car. You see Darrell Waltrip there, who is trying to come up high and will take a pass on the number 90 car, and it's quite a sight out the back window of this race car number 90.
You know, Kenny's on the Winston Cup Trail, pretty much of a newcomer. He won the Champion Spark Plug Rookie Championship last year, and he's a former USAC Sprint Car champion. He won that in '83 and won the USAC Third Championship in '82. In fact, in '83, he went to Indianapolis and qualified, took the rookie test, passed it, but the only car he was in, the Grant King-owned car, was destroyed in a practice accident. He didn't get to start the race.
Well, as you see, you are watching the Coca-Cola 600 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 183 laps are complete. Here's our leaderboard. Cale Yarborough is running first. Tim Richmond's right behind him. Bill Elliott is third. Rusty Wallace fourth. Darrell Waltrip is fifth. Sixth place now belongs to Harry Gant in car 33, who's had a strong run today. So too Morgan Shepherd in car number 47. Dale Earnhardt, car 3. Jeff Bodine still trying to keep alive a hope of the Winston Million. He needs to win here today. He'd pick up an extra $100 grand if he could do it. He's running ninth. 10th place belongs to Terry Labonte in car number 44. Mike Hogwood along with Jerry Punch, and you were watching Cale Yarborough, who was a lap down earlier today, but a lap down virtually means nothing to Cale. He came back, made it up, got back on the lead lap under a caution, and then went right to the front. 14 cars are now in the lead lap here at Charlotte. The top 5, Yarborough, Richmond, Elliott, Wallace, and Gant now. Harry Gant has now moved into the 5th position. Let's go down now to pit road, and our Good Run pit reporter, Mike Joy.
Well, here behind the pit wall, there have been a lot of crewmen walking back and forth, it seems aimlessly. Usually they're carrying cans back to fill with gasoline or wheels back to have tires mounted. We told you earlier from the Elliott pit that they had a whole array of tires lined up in various circumferences to put on the race cars. Well, Goodyear, who supplies the tires to all these cars, has apparently run out of right-side tires. So the crew members have been coming up and down the pit lane trying to borrow tires from one another to fit on the race car. It's conceivable that some teams could run out. We're right behind the Tim Richmond pit, and it looks like Harry Hyde is about to bring his driver in.
We'll keep an eye out for that, Michael. And there you see Bobby Allison. He's another car that needs to win today to keep alive a hope at the Winston Million. But down on pit road, it is Tim Richmond in the 25 car. Harry Hyde and his crew will go to work on that car. Let's go back down now to our Good Run pit reporter, Mike Joy.
Tim Richmond gets a drink of Gatorade from the crew as they are changing right side tires, putting 22 gallons of Unical gasoline. That's David Oliver helping with a tire change on the right front. Cheech Gardy, the right rear tire changer, comes over to lend a hand. And the man has to run around quickly with the air hose for Richmond to get away. It's a quick pit stop, just about 15 and a half seconds. Had they not had that trouble with the right front, they could have saved a second and a half, and that translates to about 12 to 15 car lengths on the racetrack.
These will be routine pit stops, Mike, as here comes Bill Elliott down pit road in the Coors 4. And routine stop for Elliott as brother Ernie and Dan are out on pit road bringing that red and white normal at the midpoint of pit road. Then we'll go to work on the right side and change right side tires on the Bill Elliott car. Routine stop.
Again, we will keep a clock on Bill Elliott as these pit stops under green, absolutely crucial. We'll keep a clock on and see the time and see who can come down and get away on pit road the quickest. 15.8, a little bit slower for Bill Elliott than the Tim Richmond stop. And Elliott, though, is down and he is away. It'll shake the leaderboard up a bit. Cale Yarborough has not come in yet, so Yarborough will remain the leader. Rusty Wallace will move up now into second place in the Alucard number 27 car. We're almost 10 laps away now from the halfway point of this race. $5,000 for the halfway leader. And that's our in-car, Kenny Schrader, you see, trying to get his car up to speed as he goes down pit road. And the car apparently will not fire. It is barely rolling down pit road. And now he seems to have got it underway and apparently has trouble getting it into low gear. And is having to start the car maybe in high gear and has some trouble getting it up to speed.
And Lake Speed brings his car down for a pit stop, the All-Pro Oldsmobile. We're still waiting for Cale Yarborough to make his entry on the pit road. Waddell Wilson and the crew in the pits are apparently getting ready for Cale. They have made some communications with him, and we'll watch for his pit stop in the next lap or two.
Great racing by Harry Gant, who has found his secret again as he just shot back by Rusty Wallace. There is Trevor Boys in the Kodak car, number 94, down and away on pit road. But Harry Gant has just moved up into second place and taken it away from Rusty Wallace, number 27 car. Again, the leaderboard will shake up tremendously in the next few moments. And again, here's the battle for second. It's Wallace down low, Harry Gant up high in car 33.
Well, the veteran driver, Harry Gant, now trying to go around Rusty Wallace. He just does get by and skim across without touching the wall out of turn 4. And now he goes by Rusty Wallace, and Wallace now 2 car lengths back. So, you know, this may not mean a lot. Wallace may have let him go by a little bit because pit stops will be coming up here very shortly as some of the other leaders. And here is the leader, Cale Yarborough, makes the left-hand turn, brings the Hardee's Ford down on pit road, and there is some sheet metal damage on the right side of Cale Yarborough's car. Looks like he may have contacted that concrete retaining wall. We'll watch for Waddell Wilson and the crew to go to work. They have the clocks on the Yarborough's pit stop.
Well, let's go down now to Cale Yarborough's pit.
Out of the number 28 Hardee's Ford. They're changing right side tires, and they're now trying to pull the fender away from the right rear tire. We noticed that Cale was running awfully high up in the third and fourth turn. There's a possibility that he might have brushed that wall. Doesn't seem to be a major problem right now. He's down and away. They're not too concerned about the sheet metal rubbing the fender right now. The sheet metal rubbing the tire. The tire that they just took off has been rubbed, but it has not been cut, so they don't think that they have a very serious problem.
We'll keep an eye on Cale Yarborough's car now as he comes out of the pits, and we'll look for smoke from the right rear of that car, because if he did bend any of that fender in against it when he goes down in the turn to turn 3 and 4, we'll see that tire rub and see some smoke coming off.
The other member of our leaders, Harry Gant, is down on pit road. Mike Joy, our Goodwrench pit reporter, is standing by in the Harry Gant pit.
Well, Gant inherited the lead. He will surrender it as he makes his pit stop. They will hand Gant a glass of water and a wipe of the windshield, right side tires, and Wayne Bungardner leans in the right side of the car. He has a big ratchet wrench, and you see him cranking on it behind the window. He's making a chassis adjustment, jacking some weight off the right rear of the car. Gant is down and away.
17.5 seconds to pit stop for Harry Gant. It took a little bit of time to make that chassis adjustment, but Harry is running strong out there today. And now we set our sights on lap 200 as Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip head down pit road, along with car 44, Terry Labonte. We'll watch 200 will be the halfway point. We'll get $5,000 for the leader at that point of the race.
And we'll watch the Waltrip pit stop down here. Junior Johnson has the pit board. They will go to work on the right side of the Waltrip car, the Budweiser Chevrolet. He's the reigning champion here in the World 600. Changing right side tires. He had to make an unscheduled pit stop early in the event, about 15 laps into the race, for a tire that equalized on the car. Good pit stop, 15 seconds flat for Walter. He is down pit road, but one car that beat him out of the pits is the Dale Earnhardt crew. Kirk Shelberdine and the crew has beaten Walter down pit road, and a pretty good stop for Earnhardt.
Well, it's certainly no disgrace to get beat by Kirk Shelberdine's crew. They're considered by everybody to be the best in the business along pit road. 192 laps are complete here in Charlotte. We will sort the leaderboard out for you in just a moment. Right now, it is shaken up a bit with all these stops on pit road. Benny Parsons, the next car down on pit road, and we'll sort the leaders out for you and have them all decided out, who's in front and who's in second. We come back live after this local break. Greetings and welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike Hogwood along with Jerry Punch. We are 3 laps away from the halfway point. The leader is Rusty Wallace. Morgan Shepherd is right behind him. These drivers are not fortunate enough to have stayed around today. The attrition board includes David Pearson, the veteran driver, out with engine problems. Chet Phillip, former Indy driver, out with an accident. Richard Petty's out. Greg Sachs is out. Brad Teague and Kenny Reagan are out of today's race. Also out, Tommy Ellis is out of today's race. You're looking at a shot from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise. Quite a story developing now as you see Morgan Shepherd. He is running second in the race. It is Rusty Wallace and Morgan who are trying to hang out there and see if they can stay out there and have enough fuel to make it to the halfway point and get $5,000. I don't know if Rusty Wallace is going to be able to do it. Let's go down now. Rusty Wallace is going to have to come down on pit road. Rusty Wallace is slowed down. He is out of gas. Rusty Wallace tried to do it. He tried to make it to 200 laps, and here we go to lap 200, and that money is going to go to Morgan Shepherd, it looks like, because here comes Rusty Wallace, and we'll go down to our Goodwrench pit reporter, Mike Joy.
Money. Well, Jack Beebe and crew chief Jake Older are looking back. They've got one more to go to get the $5,000 if Morgan doesn't run out of gas. Does he have enough gas?
No, they just released the flag, so it should be the halfway point, see?
The balloons are up. That's $5,000. Crew chief Jake Elder has the pit board up, and here comes Shepherd. We'll back out of the way because Morgan has just earned that $5,000 bonus, and now he'll need a tank of gas and 2 fresh tires. Here is Shepherd, the Race Hill Farm Buick, the winner at Atlanta in March for car owner Jack Beebe, who had endured a drought since 1981, since this car had him off. 22 gallons of gas, a drink of Gatorade, and Shepard is down off the jack. Away he goes. $5,000 richer.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you, it was a real battle there. Rusty Wallace tried to hang out there and squeeze every inch of fuel he could out of that car. He just couldn't get it done. Ran out of gas on the back straightaway. Morgan Shepard hung in there, had just enough gas to collect the $5,000 for being the leader at the halfway point. Down on pit road now is Jeff Bodine, just taking his car behind the wall was veteran racer Benny Parsons, who looks like he may be out of today's race.
And Jeff Bodine's Levi Garrett crew goes to work on his car. They will change right side tires and clean the windshield. This will be a scheduled pit stop for Bodine. It can run about 100 miles, 108 miles maybe on a tank of fuel. These tanks hold 22 gallons, so they are changing the tires. They will try to get two 11-gallon cans of fuel in the car. Bodine's car now down and away, about a 17-second stop.
And further down pit road, the 75 car of Jody Ridley is having trouble getting fired. They now have that car started an inch down and away and going out along pit road. Our leader now is Cale Yarborough. Yarborough didn't seem too concerned about the money at the halfway point, but the Fords normally don't get as good a gas mileage, I guess, as the General Motors cars, and Yarborough had to come in for fuel. He right now is your leader. Jeff Bodine was posted in second place on the racetrack. That will change with that pit stop. And Tim Richmond also now will move into the second spot. Bill Elliott is being posted in third place now. Harry Gansel.
And Cale Yarborough now trying to work around or trying to put a lap on that car number 4. That's Lake Speed. He is a substitute driver for Rick Wilson, the youngster out of Bartow, Florida, who was in an accident earlier in the week, injured his right shoulder. They had to bring in Lake Speed to drive the car. Rick Wilson's car, that car ran so well at Talladega a few weeks ago. In fact, was running second or third with about 8 or 10 laps to go. Ended up finishing about 8th of that event. But Lake Speed now, one of the veteran drivers, trying to hold off Cale Yarborough.
Some of our stations just joining us may be wondering where Richard Petty is. We will make note that he is now out of the race. Interesting story here this week. Richard Petty involved in a crash, could not start his own car today. Matter of fact, he was knocked unconscious in the crash earlier in the week and had to get cleared by a local doctor before they'd let him race today. Started D.K. Ulrich's car number 6, and it lasted for a good while, then dropped the valve, and Richard had to call it quits, which is probably, considering how sore he was good for Richard, because he's going to be an awful sore man tonight back up in Randallville, North Carolina.
Well, I'm sure Richard would have liked to have finished this race, but he was awfully sore, and it takes a lot of gallops. It's a lot of courage to get out there as sore as he was. He was totally unconscious when he hit the wall on Friday, and he says that he thinks he may have had a tire going down. He went into turn 3, the tire rolled off the wheel, and the car went plowing up across the racetrack at 160-plus miles an hour, impacted the concrete wall, and he was knocked cold, and the car came down across the wall, and he was extricated from the car and taken to the hospital where he spent the night. But he did start the race today, continues his streak of 434 consecutive starts. This was his 997th overall start, and if things continue, Mike, Richard Petty will have his 1,000th start about the middle of June up in Michigan.
Boy, he is really the king of this sport. Won more races than anyone else. There is Cale Yarborough, who is still trying to get by Lake Speed. Lake Speed giving him a good battle. That is not for position on the racetrack. Yarborough is the leader. Goodrich pit reporter Steve Martin is standing by now with Benny Parsons.
It's been a tough day for our past champions here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. David Pearson's out of the race. Richard Petty's out of the race. And Benny Parsons, who won here in 1980, is in a little bit of trouble. Benny, what happened out there, and what's the situation right now?
Something happened to the left front chocolate board. It broke off the mount, or where it's mounted. Somehow it broke off. And since there's only one shock absorber on that wheel, the car was bouncing rather severely.
They're going to be able to get you back in?
I suppose. I mean, I'm sure they can fix it. You know, I guess we got to sit down and examine, is it worth going back out there?
What's the situation of the track? What's the track condition out there? Is it slick?
The track is very slick, yeah. You know, you're all the time, either the right front tire is sliding across the racetrack or the right rear sliding across the racetrack. One or the other is continually sliding.
Benny Parsons looking to get back into this race, but out of contention right now in the 55 car.
I'll tell you, Benny Parsons, only a part-time competitor now in this Winston Cup circuit, but you could hear the disappointment in his voice. And these guys, no matter how many races a season they run, when they get out there, they want to win and will settle for nothing else.
You know, Benny had a good run at Atlanta a few weeks ago when he won the Atlanta Invitational, but this track here has really been a bugaboo for him. You know, he won this race back in 1980, but since that time, since that victory, he has not finished here. In fact, the last 2 years, he has finished 42nd, dead last in the field from mechanical failure. So, you know, Benny was really hoping for a good finish today.
An overcast day in Charlotte. Cale Yarborough is the leader. 200 laps lap summary, we'd like to check and see who our top 5 were at the halfway point of the race. Cale Yarborough is the leader right now as you check out the shot from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise, and you get an idea of what it looks like. An overall view here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is quite a place. Jam-packed today. After 200 laps, 300 miles, we have had 5 cautions for 18 laps, 24 lead changes among 15 drivers. That, by the way, is the Charlotte Motor Speedway record. The average speed, 137.510 miles an hour. 210 laps are complete now. Cale Yarborough again the leader. Tim Richmond and Bill Elliott chasing him down. But Cale Yarborough has a bit of a lead on the rest of the field. Jeff Bodine is being posted now as the second place car. We're going to check the scoring and see if that is indeed correct. Our scoring had him a lap down a moment ago, but if indeed Jeff Bodine is in second, that would be quite a story developing because Jeff Bodine would be running now for the Winston Million. So Jeff Bodine is a lap down. We now have that officially from NASCAR that Jeff Bodine is 1 lap in arrears behind the field. He's being posted in second place, but that is incorrect right now. Jeff Bodine a lap down. Yarborough and Richmond are running 1 and 2. Bodine is in 9th place.
Well, Cale Yarborough was finally able to move around Lake Speed. Speed's car awfully quick out there. The Oldsmobile, the All-Pro Oldsmobile that the Morgan McClure Racing Team fields for normally for their driver, Rick Wilson. So Lake Speed doing a pretty good job. He didn't want to go a lap down. He was in the lead lap, and now apparently Yarborough has gone around him and put him a lap down. So we'll see if Cale Yarborough now has some open track and puts a little more distance on him and the second place car, which probably looks to be Tim Richmond.
It is indeed Tim Richmond, car number 25. Car 9, Bill Elliott is running 3rd. Harry Gant is 4th in car number 33. And I'd say any one of those 4 cars has a good shot to win today. The sentimental favorite here at Charlotte almost has to be Cale Yarborough, who has never won this race. And that's incredible to think, as long as Cale has been running and as successful as he has been in his Winston Cup career, that he hasn't won this race.
Well, he's had a pretty dismal year thus far, and I think Harry Ranier and J.T. Lundy, the car owners, are hoping that Cale and Waddell can put something together here at Charlotte. They wanted him to run well. They had a good run going at Talladega. The engine came unglued.
Here's a shot from our in-car camera, and you see Cale Yarborough is getting ready to put another lap now on the number 90 car of Kenny Schrader. Kenny carrying our in-car camera on board, and there Cale goes flying by. You see how fast that car is really running because Kenny Schrader is not going too slow himself. Cale Yarborough, the leader from inside. You're looking through a dirty windshield of the board of Kenny Schrader. Here's our leaderboard. Our leader is Cale Yarborough. Then it's Tim Richmond, Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, and Dale Earnhardt is running 5th. 214 of 400 laps are completed here at Charlotte. We'll return live to the Coca-Cola 600 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Productions is bringing you this Coca-Cola 600 live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 217 laps are complete. Cale Yarborough is the leader. Tim Richmond is running 2nd. Bill Elliott is 3rd. Harry Gant is 4th. And right now running 5th is Dale Earnhardt. You see the overcast conditions from the Goodyear Blimp. In our booth with us is Humpy Wheeler from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And Humpy, you've had a chance to check out the radar and look at the weather conditions. We're going to get some rain this afternoon.
Well, we could. Right now the showers are south of us and actually in the city of Charlotte and south of Charlotte. We probably get some buildup back along the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And we could have some in and out rain here this afternoon, but it looks good right now.
And still, what do you think of the race so far? It's pretty good. Cale Yarborough really showing some strength out there on the racetrack.
Yes, he is. And, you know, he has not won here ever for the 600, and it's eluded him, and he's had a great career. And I know what's going through his head because I know him so well, and that is he wants to win this Coca-Cola 600.
You got to be awfully pleased, Humpy, with the kind of crowd that's jammed their way into this facility. I mean, what a beautiful place you've got here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I mean, the staff here on the leading edge of progress in motorsports with all the new ventures that you have, and the folks like to come here. They enjoy coming to Charlotte and watching the exciting competition.
Yes, it is exciting, and Bruton Smith has been a real guiding hand for all of us here and enabled us to get enough dollars to do the kind of things that needed done, and we're just trying to stay a step ahead of this sport. I think the sport's probably outgrown all of us, and none of us have caught up with it yet.
You know, Humpy, the motto here at Charlotte Motor Speedway is that the future is now. And, you know, you've done a lot of things. You're very progressive with the plush sky suites for the corporate sponsor, the new high-rise condominiums. But the newest venture that you've talked about is something called the Speedway Club. Tell us about that.
Well, the Speedway Club going to sit atop a $14 million office project that we're building right into the grandstand south of the start-finish line. And we will have the office building and the Speedway Club partially finished with the 1987 Coca-Cola 600, and we'll have the 4,000 VIP suites for the folks that join the Speedway Club available for that race. It's going to be, as you can see on the picture there, I think it's going to revolutionize Winston Cup racing. Carl Varney's the designer out of New York. He did the White House for the Carters, and he did he's doing the Waldorf Towers right now. He's done a lot of great stuff with Dorothy Draper's company. We're glad to have him kind of attack stock car racing, so to speak, and put us in a different vein.
What kind of people do you expect to join that club? I know you mentioned some of the people who are race drivers, previous race winners here, are expecting to join.
Well, yeah, I think the key thing is that they can join by calling 455-2121, Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's $5,000 to join the club today. It goes up to $5,500 tomorrow. I think it's just for fans. That's what it's for.
Well, I'm sure the race fans and the people who really love to be around racing and around the stock car circuit will really find that the Speedway Club is something, it's certainly a wave in the future, and Charlotte Motor Speedway is the first one to develop this kind of club, and I think you've got to be really excited about the prospects it'll bring for this racetrack.
Well, I think so. It's, like I say, it's never been done before and anywhere in racing, and we're looking forward to it. While I'm up here, I'd like to know a lot of people up in Indianapolis are watching this race over the CBS affiliate up there, and I'd like to tell Tony George and all the people that are involved in the management of that track, I'm sure sorry they're having rain, because they're fine people, and we hate that.
There's a phone number to call for further information, 455-2155, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Humpy, so, you know, we have a lot of those viewers who want to watch the Indy 500 who are now watching our race here today, and we know we're going to have an exciting finish here to the Coca-Cola 600. Any predictions as to who you might see in victory lane here?
Well, I'll tell you what, Cale Yarborough and Tim Richmond are two of the toughest guys in the business, but back there in third place and kind of running his own race today is a hungry race driver who made the Winston Million last year, Bill Elliott, and I wouldn't count him out, nor Harry Gant. Harry is a real tough guy, and so is Earnhardt. We get the right kind of caution, this could be the most spectacular end that we have ever seen in Winston Cup racing.
Well, let's hope we have it today. Humpy Wheeler from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Speedway Club certainly sounds exciting. Thanks a lot for stopping by today and talking with us.
Good telecast, and good finish of the race.
All right, Humpy Wheeler has been our guest here in the booth. Said we might have some rain today. Let's hope that it stays away until we get to lap 400, which will make up the Coca-Cola 600 here. We're going to run 600 miles, 226 laps. Of 400 laps have been complete here in Charlotte. Cale Yarborough is the leader. Tim Richmond is still in second. And as Humpy Wheeler said, a young, hungry race driver by the name of Bill Elliott is running in third place. We will return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca-Cola 600 after these messages from your local. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike Hogwood here along with Jerry Punch. 229 to 400 laps complete. Here are your leaders, Cale Yarborough and Tim Richmond, Bill Elliott. Those three really strung out around the racetrack. Harry Gant pretty close behind Bill Elliott. Then it's Dale Earnhardt rounding out the top five. Second five, Darrell Waltrip, Terry Labonte, Morgan Shepherd. Jeff Bodine is a lap down. Sterling Marlin is also a lap down. Here's the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise, and you get a great view from that ship and what this track looks like, Jerry Punch, and that shot is just incredible. Here's Cale Yarborough, the leader, 46 years old, out of Timminsville, South Carolina, has never won this race before. And we'll go back in the field to Bill Elliott and Harry Gant. That is the best race on the racetrack right now. It is the battle for third place. Harry Gant content for the moment to hang around and follow Bill Elliott around here, but the field, the front five, pretty well strung out.
Well, they pretty well are. It's about a 12 or second or so separation between Cale Yarborough, the leader, and Tim Richmond in second spot. Yarborough having everything go his way, but he's had these afternoons here where he runs awfully strong. And a couple of years ago here in Charlotte, back in '84, he was leading the race with about 10 or 12, maybe 15 laps to go, and kaboom, over in turn two, the engine came apart, and he had to pull it in the garage area. Bobby Allison went on to win that race, and he kept the doubleheader that afternoon. He took the Sportsman race on Saturday and won the World 600 on Sunday.
232 laps completed the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hello again, everybody. I'm Mike Hogwood along with Jerry Punch. We'd like to welcome some of our stations that are just joining us now. Cale Yarborough is the leader. Tim Richmond running second. Bill Elliott is third. Harry Gant is fourth. And Dale Earnhardt Earnhardt is fifth. There is the leader, car number 28. That is Cale Yarborough. Let's go down now to one of our good pit reporters, Mike Joy, who is standing by on pit road.
I'm in the Tim Richmond pit. Richmond had been the race leader up until this last round of pit stops when Cale Yarborough went to the front. This is Tommy Johnson, the shop foreman for the Folgers team. Tim would have liked to stayed out and run for that $5,000 bonus at the halfway point, but you couldn't leave him out there. Why not?
Well, we had a flat on the right rear, and he tried to stay out there about 4 or 5 more laps, but he just couldn't do it. It got too weird.
So they brought him in and changed that right rear tire. As a result, Richmond made a pit stop 8 laps earlier, they say on the charts, than he would have liked. He'll be able to continue and run out there, but it will mean he will have to stop earlier than some of the Chevrolets, Buicks, Oldsmobiles, and Pontiacs that pitted later on this last round of green flag pit stops.
So what Mike Joy is telling us, Jerry Punch, is that a caution flag could really help the efforts of Tim Richmond here.
Well, indeed it could. They can actually run about 65 laps, around 90 to 102 miles, and that range on a tank of fuel. And tire wear really isn't a factor here. The Goodyear people have put together a broader tire here that is a hard compound tire, and most tires that run have around 630 seconds rubber. The tire they brought here, the racing tire, has only 430 seconds rubber, and that's because it won't keep the heat in and it won't wear out. So tire wear is not a factor, but fuel certainly is, and we've already seen from a couple of cars running out of fuel today.
One guy who is having some tough luck today is Bobby Allison. As Bill Elliott just shot by him, you're taking a look at Tim Richmond, who is the second place car right now. There's Cale Yarborough, the leader. But Bobby Allison needed a victory today to stay alive. The Winston Million doesn't look like he's going to get it, as this racetrack continues to get overcast and dark clouds continue to come in and hang over. It's coming in from the south down in the actual city of Charlotte. 236 laps are complete. There is Bobby Allison, who was the oldest driver ever to win this Winston Cup circuit. Won at Talladega earlier this year. That qualified him for the Winston Million. But he's had a pretty tough go of it today and hasn't been able to get up there with the leaders.
You know, you talk about dark clouds, and Bobby Allison certainly has had his luck. He sort of had a roller coaster ride in this business. He had gone 55 races without a win until he won the Winston 500 at Talladega a couple of weeks back at the Alabama International Motor Speedway. And what a good victory that was for the Stavola team. A 3-year-old team, Mickey and Bill Stavola, who are the car owners. They have 2 drivers, Bobby Allison, one of the old guard at 48 years of age, and they have a young 21-year-old Midland, Texas driver. That's Bobby Hillen Jr. And those 2 guys have really been doing a job. Hillen finished 4th at Talladega, and Allison won the race.
You just saw a shot of Harry Gant. He is now past Bill Elliott and is now running in the 3rd position. Harry Gant, who has had a very, very strong run here today, now running 3rd. Bill Elliott drops back to 4th. Dale Earnhardt stays in 5th. If you're wondering about the differences between the leaders, Cale Yarborough, the leader, and then back to Tim Richmond, is 12 seconds on the racetrack. That's a very healthy lead for Cale Yarborough. Then it's another 5.6 seconds back to Harry Gant and Bill Elliott. There is Buddy Baker being put another lap down by Cale Yarborough. And Cale Yarborough with a 12-second lead on the rest of the field. He's got a pretty good margin right now, Terry.
Well, you talk about dark clouds this year, and there certainly has been one hovering over Cale Yarborough. They've only started 4 races thus far in '86, but they haven't had a good year. They destroyed 2 cars during speed weeks at Daytona, as Cale had a car wrecked during practice and also one during the Daytona 500. He finished 27th. His best finish thus far this year was a 6th at Rockingham. They finished 27th at Atlanta and 22nd at Darlington.
There you see on pit road Eddie Bierschwale with the hood up in the Prototype Racing Chevrolet. Eddie Bierschwale lost his ride and is now in the number 32 car. He formerly was in the Kodak car, number 94, to start this season. Glenn Jarrett, our Good Ring pit reporter, is down on pit road, standing by in the pits of Cale Yarborough.
We're standing in Cale Yarborough's pits now. We checked with crew chief Waddell Wilson. They're readying for his next pit stop, which should come on about lap 251. Also, to update you further on that little incident on his last pit stop where they were pulling sheet metal off the right side tires, Cale did get into the wall somewhere on the racetrack. They didn't know exactly where. Waddell said he didn't know. It just happened somewhere. The problem is, later on in the race here at Charlotte, the track gets so slick that the cars have to move way up the racetrack and run right against the wall. The slightest little miscalculation on the driver's part, and boom, he's into that wall. Of course, when you're running that close to the wall and you hit it, it doesn't really do that much damage. You have to hit it with some force before it causes structural damage or steering linkage damage. So it really didn't hurt anything, just bent the fender in on the tire. So they have had no problems out of the car since then. Cale says everything is fine, and again, they're looking to pit in about 10 laps.
Thank you very much, Glenn Jarrett. And Jerry, I'm not much of a weatherman. That's not my expertise in the field of meteorology, but I would say that those clouds are indeed getting a little bit darker. We may see some rain before we complete this race. We're 241 laps in. We've got to run to lap 400.
And Cale Yarborough is threatening, as so are the skies, but Yarborough threatening a little bit to move in on the 7th place car of Morgan Shepherd, the car number 47 of Shepherd.
And you've got a shot there of the Goodyear blimp. That will be overhead all afternoon long. And it's piloted by Dr. Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia. They've done a great job today on the Goodyear blimp.
Here's Cale Yarborough on Morgan Shepherd, the rear deck. Now, Shepherd has been one of the early lead cars in the top 2 or 3 most of the afternoon, but Yarborough has got his car hooked up so well that he has pulled up. That's a 7th place car, Morgan Shepherd, in the car number 47, the Race Hill Farms Buick. That's the car that won in Atlanta earlier in the year in the Motorcraft 500. So there's Shepherd, and just in front of Morgan Shepherd is the 6th place car, and that would be Darrell Waltrip. So Yarborough now trying to move in on the 6th and 7th place car.
There are a lot of cars out there that could stand a caution right now. Morgan Shepherd is one of them, as he desperately fights to hold off Cale Yarborough. And the way Cale's running, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. As they head down the back stretch now, you see them almost nose to tail. Shepherd is out in front, and he's going to try to stay on that lead lap. He is the 7th place car right now, and he pulls away a bit as they head into turn 3. But Cale Yarborough is right behind him, threatening to put Morgan Shepherd a lap down. Dale Earnhardt is the 5th place car, and he also is not really in danger of getting lapped, but probably could use a caution to get his car tightened up just a bit and get it handling just a little bit better, as you see him running really high up on the racetrack.
Well, the skies are indeed getting a little bit dark over toward the east part of the racetrack as the skies are threatening here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You know, and Cale Yarborough is going to have to pit here in about 7 or 8 laps from now, so Morgan Shepherd would like to stay out in front of him and not be a lap down in case there would be a caution flag come out, or so he can get back and stay in the lead lap. A lot of heavy traffic. They move by the car number 2. That's Brett Bodine, a younger brother of Jeff Bodine, making his first Winston Cup start in one of the Rick Hendrick-owned cars, as Morgan Shepherd now using the lap traffic to pull away a little bit from Cale Yarborough and stay in the lead lap.
Morgan Shepherd is a veteran and cagey race driver. He's 44 years old, from Conover, North Carolina. And Morgan Shepherd has a victory earlier this year in Atlanta, and he doesn't know what he's doing out here on these super speedways, and right now he's fighting to hold off Cale Yarborough. Down on pit road, you see the car of Bill Elliott. We'll get a time on that car as they go to change left side tires on the Elliott car. Again, this pit stop is under green flag, and so they're really going after it.
Yeah, it'll be a scheduled pit stop for Elliott. They're going to change left side tires and clean the windshield, drop the car down. 15 and 1/10 seconds. Pretty good stop for Ernie, Dan, and the rest of the Elliott crew there. And the Coors Ford makes his move down pit road. The car that has not yet captured a victory here in 1986 on the Winston Cup Tour is hoping to get one here today. And they are having a good run. They are not up front. I think if right now, if things continue as they are, it'll be awfully tough to beat Cale Yarborough.
They call him a bulldog. You know, a lot of these guys have problems in the seat with their necks at this racetrack because it pulls your neck around every time you go into the turns and on the banking. But not Cale Yarborough. He has no neck.
Well, Cale is a pretty well-built little fellow. You know, he was a fullback, they said, in high school, and a pretty good football player. And they tell us he even had a tryout with the Redskins, but decided he wanted to go ahead and stick with stock car racing, and it served him pretty well. And now he has pulled that Ford up on the rear deck of the Buick of Morgan Shepherd again. And you got to give a call to Morgan Shepherd. He's a former late model sportsman or Busch Grand National champion, this Shepherd. He's won over 200 races, and Yarborough gets the car squirrely out of turn 4. So apparently it's time for Yarborough to come in and get some fresh rubber on that car and probably get a little bit of fuel in, say, maybe 3 to 5 laps.
248 laps are complete, and Glenn Jarrett told us they were going to try to bring him in on about lap 251. So we're about 3 laps away from that pit stop, and Morgan Shepherd now putting a little bit of distance on. Morgan, I've never seen him that emotional as he was when he won the race in Atlanta earlier this year. That car does not have a major sponsorship, car number 47, yet the Race Hill Farms team has done a great job of making it competitive here in 1986. And Morgan Shepherd has done a great job of driving it. Car number 47, you see, without a major sponsor on the hood or on the side of the car.
Well, Jack Beebe is the car owner, and he's from Connecticut, and he has a fleet of of school buses. He uses to finance his racing operation. He's a real unique individual. Jack Beebe had one previous win as a car owner back in 1981, the Talladega 500, which Ron Bouchard was aboard the car. Morgan Shepherd's only previous win came 5 years previous in the Virginia 500 up in Martinsville, Virginia. Then he won 112 races without another win until he got one this year at Atlanta. So I'm sure Morgan Shepherd is got to be awfully excited about the way that car's been running today. But right now he's got his hands full trying to hold off the veteran Cale Yarborough.
There's a lot of stirring starting to go around down on pit road. That's the Tim Richmond pit, and you see them with the gas can ready. They look like Tim Richmond's going to be coming down on pit road at any moment now, so we'll keep an eye out on the 25 car. Richmond is currently running in second place, and it looks like he is going to be coming down on pit road. As you said, he's going to have to pit a little bit early. We're on lap 250 right now.
Well, Harry Hyde, the veteran crew chief for Tim Richmond, has got to feel good about the way that car has been running today.
Also, the pit board is up down in the Hardee's pit. The Hardee's pit of Cale Yarborough. The 28 signboard is out. And here comes Cale down pit road. Cale is on pit road. Let's go to our good-ridden pit reporter, Glenn Garrett.
And Cale Yarborough is now bringing the Hardee's Ford Thunderbird into the pit. They're going to change the left side tires this time, fill it up with fuel. The car is being jacked up. Cale's getting a cold drink. Fast and serious pit work here by this experienced Hardee's crew. Might also note that right before Cale came in, we asked Waddell Wilson if the chassis was to Cale's liking. He said yes, it was. They had anticipated cloudy, overcast conditions, so everything seems to be going their way right now. He's down in the way, no hitches at all.
I'll tell you, our fans at home got a great shot then of what it's really like on a pit stop as we saw the fast work as they changed the left side tires, and that is an exciting moment. Now, here comes Tim Richmond down pit road. Let's go to Mike Joy, who's standing by in the Richmond pit with a Goodwrench pit report.
The strategy will be similar here. Harry Hyde and the crew already had the left side tires ready. You see how far away from the pit wall Richmond stopped? That is so they could get those left side tires on. Tim has the left side fitted, one, now 2 tanks of gasoline. When the jack man drops the car, that's the signal to go. Cheech Gardy gives him a push away, and Richmond is off. The most important piece of pit equipment right here may be the one that's standing right above me, and that's the umbrella. It is very humid, and the wind has really picked up here, and rain is going to be a factor. That will definitely affect these teams' strategy, especially that of Richmond, Elliott, and the other cars that have been trailing Cale Yarborough. Some of them may really try to stretch it on fuel, hoping that the rain comes before the gas tank empties out.
253 laps complete. Cale Yarborough is the leader. Tim Richmond in second place. Let's catch you up on what the story is after 250 laps, 375 miles. We've had 5 cautions for 22 laps, 24 lead changes among 15 drivers. Our average speed 140.158 miles an hour. Strategy here, Jerry.
Well, Mike, you know, it's really important to try to be out there as far as and get as close as you can to the front with the rain coming. You know, with the way NASCAR rules are set, if a race is past the halfway point, meaning if it's past 200 laps here, and it is, if the rains would come, they could call it a complete race. Now, what they would do is try to hang around and hopefully the showers would pass over, and we'd be able to restart the race and complete it. But as long as you're past the halfway point, if the race would be rained out from here on, it would be a complete race. And, of course, whoever is leading would be the winner. So that's why it's important. Harry Gann is still on the racetrack. He is currently the leader. His crew and we have trouble over in turn 4. One car spins and tags the wall, comes down across the track, heads for pit road, goes back up across the track, looks to be the Sterling Marlin car.
It is the Sterling Marlin car, number 1. Doesn't appear to be serious damage on the car. 256 laps complete here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Coca-Cola 600. Your leader is Harry Gant. We'll be back live. Is brought to you by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. 259 laps are complete. Mike Hogwood and Jerry Punch welcoming you back as the skies are getting darker by the minute, and this is the pit of Harry Gann as they're giving service on the number 33 car. He is down and away, and it doesn't look like this race is going to be able to beat the raindrops. Someone took a look at a radar a moment ago, and it seemed to be solid red all around us. They say there are heavy, heavy rains on the way.
Well, I'm sure the crews are aware. They Mike, and just take a look over the turn 1 and 2 area and see the dark skies. It's important that they tell their drivers that you're going to have to run it right now, not save anything at all. Go ahead and move toward the front, and this race could be halted any time if the showers do come over. It's a pretty solid storm just south of the Speedway. But Harry Gant made a pit stop, took left side tires on. We're showing 259 laps in the books here, Mike, out of 400, so we're well past the halfway point.
That was my next point, the strategy now. Normally in this 600-mile race, which is a lot longer than these guys run on a normal basis, do they now go to the front? They would usually wait till the last 100 miles, maybe, but maybe now they're going to go ahead and decide to make their move and go to the front.
Well, I don't think you can hold anything back now. They've just made a pit stop, and all the top teams have fresh rubber on the car, so they're going to have to make a move, and we are getting a signal that there may be just a few sprinkles possible on the racetrack are just coming down.
Well, the rain has started. The rain has just hit the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go to our good friend pit reporter, Steve Martin.
We're down here in the pits of Harry Gant, talking with Brucey, Travis Carter. Travis, on that last pit stop, what seems to be the situation? You have enough gas to go, 72 laps or so?
Well, I'm not sure we can go quite that far. What we were trying to do is get in a position maybe to try to run 70 laps this time and leave it 7 and go in the race. But it's going to be awful close. It looks like we can gamble and gain something. We might try that, but I don't really think we can do it.
What about a rain plan? Are people now starting to think about what they might do in the event of rain here?
Well, you know, the rain has changed the whole complexion of it, but it looks to me like it's going south or north or whichever direction the first turn is from the racetrack, so the possibility might not rain much.
Travis Carter with a word from Harry Gansman as the number 33 car continues in the Coca-Cola 600.
And it looks darker and darker over off of turn 1, Jerry Punch, and on our windshield up here in the booth, we can see a few raindrops scattered around, and there's our shot from the Goodyear blimp, and you can see it is a very, very overcast afternoon. And hopefully, though, all the rain will hit all the way around the Speedway everywhere on the racetrack.
We might mention, Mike, that NASCAR has scores, and they have observers stationed all around the racetrack, and they're watching the track surface, and the surface is pretty warm with the race cars going on there around 160 plus miles an hour. So if it's just a sprinkle of rain, as soon as it hits the surface, it evaporates, and there's no really moisture on the track to worry about. They'll keep a close eye on that. If the rain were to get a little bit heavier and start to come down and accumulate on the asphalt, then they'll obviously would put the caution flag out.
Well, we understand that NASCAR is checking the weather conditions, is checking the track conditions right now. We did see a bolt of lightning off of the racetrack, and that will be the story. The weather, indeed, will be the story as we continue in this Coca-Cola 600. That's Phil Parsons, brother of Benny Parsons, down on pit road. Just a quick check, a quick splash of gasoline. He's away. And there's the Red Baron car, Kenny Schrader, who is carrying our inboard camera on today. As you see him coming up on the Cal Petty car, number 7. And he will try to make a move on car number 7. Kenny Schrader has driven a fine race today. He is a couple laps down to the leaders now, but is hanging out there driving a smooth line around this racetrack.
You know, Kenny's a driver from Fenton, Missouri. Just bought a home here this weekend, in fact, in the Charlotte area. He's going to move into this area because his team owner, Judy Dunleavy, has the operation here up in Richmond, Virginia, so it's only a few-hour drive away. So he'd like to be in the area where most of the drivers are. You see Kenny Schrader making a move now on Kyle Petty. That's the young second-generation driver Kyle Petty, who won at Richmond earlier in the year and picked up his first win. That's the Wood Brothers car that David Pearson drove for so many years and was so successful in.
Watch his hands. Watch Schrader's hands as he fights that steering wheel. And here comes the rain on the windshield. As you see the sky open up, look at the rain hit on the windshield.
Well, it's, you see a few drops splattering on the windshield there for Schrader.
The caution has come out on the racetrack. They are putting the caution flag out. Obviously, for the weather, they have put the caution out at the racetrack, and this crowd of over 100,000 people is really scrambling here. As you see Harold Kinder waving the yellow flag, and we'll slow these cars down. NASCAR's primary concern in any race, Jerry Punch, is safety.
Obviously, they want to make sure that the track is a safe surface to race on, so with the rain now getting a little bit harder, and they will put the track under caution, the car slowing down. We see the safety car getting ready to pull on the speedway. It will pick up Cale Yarborough as the leader, and it looks like hopefully this will be a brief shower, and we'll try to check with the weather forecasting people here in the area in the tower and see what their predictions are. But it should be a brief shower, we hope, and maybe it'll blow over and we can return and complete the World 600.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Morgan Shepherd has moved up now into the second position behind Cale Yarborough. Tim Richmond is third. Darrell Waltrip is fourth. Harry Gant is now running fifth. As you see, the umbrellas beginning to spring up. There are 8 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt is the last car. And Mike Joy, our pit road has a report for us on the weather. Michael?
I'm going to climb up with Linda Rudd and share this umbrella for a moment. This is Ricky's wife, and she sits in the Bud Moore pit keeping lap charts. The caution here is for the rain, and they are talking about a severe thunderstorm warning and perhaps the chance of hail. What are you doing up here during the race besides watching Ricky go around?
I keep a track of his gas mileage, and I write down each consecutive lap that Ricky's running. And so I guess if he gets out of gas, they blame it on me.
Is that a lot better than just sitting up in the grandstand or on top of the truck watching the race, that you get involved in what goes on and have a part in it?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And it feels like you're involved with your husband's career. I enjoy it.
Well, they'd also like to win this one for Bud Moore. As Jerry pointed out at the top of the show, car owner Bud Moore turned 61 today. He's been fielding a car here at Charlotte for 30 years and has never been to victory lane in the May race. They'd like to do it today. Now, every driver needs to stay out on the racetrack if at all possible. A couple of years at Richmond, Virginia, in a rain situation, Joe Ruttman, leading the race, crashed. 4 of the 5 other drivers on the lead lap pitted. Dave Marcus did not, and they called the race due to rain. Marcus went to victory lane. So Mike and Jerry, I think everyone will stay out there at least for a while till they see what the rain situation progresses.
We had just had a word from NASCAR that this is going to be a brief rain delay, and I think whenever the crew chiefs got that word, everybody came down on pit road that we are just going to catch the edge of the front, and then we will go back to green racing in just a moment.
And here's Darrell Walter bringing the Budweiser Chevrolet down pit road, and one of the crew members diving in that right window to make a chassis adjustment on the car. Other cars that have been in the pits, and you see the Walter car getting service. Bill Elliott has been in for a pit stop. Kyle Petty, Jeff Bodine is in. Now Dale Earnhardt is in on pit road. Morgan Shepherd has the Race Hill Farms Buick in. They are making a chassis adjustment. Junior Johnson at the front of the car, cleaning off some of the debris from the grill area. That's him in the white suit with the headset on, walking back away from the Darrell Waltrip car. They have completed the left side and right side tire change on Waltrip's car. He's down and away.
Morgan Shepherd, the second-place car, is also down on pit road. He is down and away as well, along with Dale Earnhardt, who had been posted as the last car on the lead lap. Well, this caution certainly gives a lot of the teams a chance to make adjustments, a chance to make changes, and really a chance to get ready for the end of the race.
And one car that's been noticeably absent thus far in the pits has been the leader. Cale Yarborough has not made an entry on the pit road, and I'm sure that Cale is probably trying to decide, should I stay out here and maybe pray for rain, do a little bit of a rain dance in this car, and hopefully they'll call this thing and I can pick up a victory, or should I go ahead and take a chance and come down pit road and change my tires and hope that the shower will pass over and we can get back to green flag racing. Here's Harry Gant in the pits in the Skull Bandit Chevrolet. They will make a right side tire change for Harry.
And now let's go down to the Harry Gant pits. Good race pit reporter Mike Joy is there.
Well, as you can see, these pit stops under the caution are a bit more leisurely. One thing these Winston Cup cars don't have are windshield wipers. They'll clean off the windshield for Harry Gant. They get back up to speed. That rain will kind of blow off the windshield due to the force of the air. With the cars going around at pace speed, they've got plenty of time to change 4 tires. But they really can't go about their work too leisurely. As other teams come to pit road, Gant can lose valuable positions, as he just did on the racetrack to the 94 and 23 car. With 4 fresh tires and a tank of gas, Gant is back on the speedway.
269 laps are complete. 400 make up the Coca-Cola 600. We are under caution because of some raindrops. And we hope, and NASCAR's radar says that this is just the edge of a front. It will only be a brief rain delay, and we will get back to green flag racing in just a minute.
And one car that certainly had a lengthy pit stop, Doug Hebron. They were underneath the hood on that car. The driver from Liverpool, New York, not having a good afternoon here in Charlotte.
Cale Yarborough still staying out on the racetrack. He is tucked in behind the pace car. He has not made a move down on pit road. And you think Cale thinks that it's really going to open up here?
Well, I'm sure if you're leading the race, you'd hate to give one away. They've been wanting a victory so badly this year. They've tried so hard, and they would like to have a win here in Charlotte as Ricky Rudd makes an entry onto pit road, and the Rusty Wallace car, the Alucard Pontiac in the pits. Now, Rusty Wallace had been having a good run earlier in the day, running in the top 2 or 3 most of the afternoon. Barry Dawson and the crew working to change tires on that car. These are routine pit stops, as you heard Mike Joy say, and routine 4-tire stops.
There's a look out the back window of Kenny Schrader's car, and you don't see too many raindrops now. The rain has subsided here. Our word from NASCAR is that we will go back to green flag racing in just a few minutes. So for all the fans in the stands and our fans at home, that is great news. And we will see if Cale Yarborough, without benefit of a pit stop, can hang on to this lead now that the field is bunched back up together. Tim Richmond, number 25, and Bill Elliott, number 9, will be running second and third. There's the Doug Hebron car you were talking about.
Yeah, Doug made a lengthy pit stop during this caution period for the rain delay, and they were underneath the hood on the car. He's a driver that's run some super modifieds, primarily up in the Syracuse area. He's from Liverpool, New York, and he's in the K-Care Wind Chevrolet out of the Roger Hamby stable, and they've had their troubles all afternoon. He's wanting to make it in Winston Cup competition, but he just doesn't quite have the sponsorship he needs to run up front as yet.
Terry Labonte down on pit road. So too Brett Bodine in car number 2. Now that's an interesting story. Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine's younger brother. This is the first Winston Cup start ever for Brett Bodine, and looks like he's fit right in pretty good today.
I tell you, he's a talented young driver, Brett Bodine is. You see Terry Labonte's car changing a tire there. Pete Wright, Bob Labonte, Terry's dad there with the car. Steve Meal, the crew chief, changing now the left front tire, and Terry Labonte getting his pit stop. But talking about Brett Bodine, the youngster from Chemung, New York, Jeff Bodine's younger brother, that's one of the Rick Hendrick cars that they bought from Terry Labonte. The guy that's just making a tire change now, that's a Chevrolet they bought from Labonte last year. It's an older car, but they're hoping to make it into a spare car, and they let Brett Bodine start it here at Charlotte.
Well, Brett Bodine is down and away, coming down off pit road. Again, he had a good run in the Sportsman race, finishing in second place. There he is, Brett Bodine, the young driver out of Chemung, New York. He is Jeff Bodine's younger brother, and certainly he was hoping for great things from his brother Jeff today. And Jeff right now is being posted on the leaderboard as being in the 5th position. If Jeff Bodine should win today, he gets an extra $100,000 and also keeps alive a chance for the Winston Million. And it's almost inconceivable to think in this sport that in 1 year you can get $1 million for being a part of this sport. But that's just how far Winston Cup racing has come, how much money is available in this sport. And you can see even by the great crowd here today in Charlotte how popular this is. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of the biggest spectacles in sports here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and really in all the Southeast, the Coca-Cola 600. Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions' exclusive live coverage of the Coca-Cola 600 is brought to you by... with veteran race announcer Jerry Punch, and it has been a great day here at Charlotte so far, and we have a lot of green flag racing yet. We had threats of a shower a moment ago as we have completed 274 laps. We have been under a caution because of the weather, but we are getting set to go back to green here in just a moment. Right now, the story of the race, Jerry Punch, has been Cale Yarborough. He has come in and made a pit stop, and he is not now among the top 5. Here is our leaderboard: Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and Morgan Shepherd. But the story today has been Cale Yarborough. He's never won this race, but he's been the leader most of the afternoon.
Well, Cale's been dominating here the last about 115, 120 laps or so. He just made a pit stop because of caution due to this short rain delay, and that has pushed Bill Elliott. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville is back at the head of the field here in Charlotte. About 125 laps to go here in Charlotte of the 400 which comprise it, and Bill Elliott currently leading.
Bill Elliott and Darrell Waltrip 1 and 2. Alpha Waltrip, by the way, the defending champion. Again, to remind you, we have been under a rain delay for the past 6-7 minutes or so because of a brief shower here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was a mean, nasty-looking front, but for the most part, it has cleared off, and we even see some rays of sunshine coming through now. As you're looking out the back window of our in-car camera, that's in the car of Kenny Schrader, the Red Baron Pizza car, number 90. And we've had some great action out of the windows of that car today as we've watched the leaders race on the racetrack. And there you see Kenny Schrader in car number 90.
And they bunch him up over in turn 3, Mike, for the restart. As the Chevrolet safety car now begins to pull away a little bit. You see that wide shot there of turn 3. All the field now tightening up, getting ready for the green flag to come back out.
Our field was strung out before the caution. They'll be bunched together now. And as the pace car heads down pit road, we will see on lap 275 who can take it to the front. And it's Bill Elliott who stands on it now and shoots out into the front. Darrell Waltrip is number 2. And Jeff Bodine is currently running 3rd. As they come through turn 1, you see the shot there of Bill Elliott. He won the Winston in Atlanta, Georgia earlier this year, but has not won a Winston Cup Tour event in 1986. Instead of being the favorite, he's now the underdog, and Elliott will have nothing better than to drive it home the victory here today in Charlotte.
Well, last year this time he had won won 2 poles and 5 races on the Winston Cup Tour. He was a dominant force, but he has yet to win, as you say, in '86. He'd like to pick up that first elusive Winston Cup Tour victory here. He leads them down across the track. Darrell Waltrip in pursuit of Bill Elliott, but Elliott now pulling away some 8 or 10 car lengths out in turn 1.
The caution really seems to have helped Bill Elliott as he has things dialed in. Harold Kinder, our flag man, has just given the flag to Derek Cope. He had a stop-and-go penalty on pit road. He jumped the start at that green flag. Jeff Bodine is currently running third. He was a lap down a while ago, but he has made that up. As you look inside our inboard camera, the Red Baron pizza car of Kenny Schrader, Jeff Bodine, quite a story there. He stands a chance to stay alive if he wins today for the Winston Million.
Well, Bodine would like to pick up $100,000. If he can win this race today, both he and Bobby Allison have a shot at picking up a $100,000 bonus for winning 2 of the top 4 events. Bodine won the Daytona 500. Bobby Allison won the Winston 500 at Talladega. If either one of them could win today, or one of them could win today, and at Darlington they could pick up the Winston Million.
There you get a look at the car number 5 of Jeff Bodine. What, a week ago in Dover, was set on the pole today. Has had to really fight to get back up there, but he's now back among the leaders. Dale Earnhardt is another car number 3 that has had to fight today. But after that caution, he is now running 4th. Morgan Shepherd is running 5th. And back in the pack a bit now, we'll have to see what will happen to the cars of Cale Yarborough and Tim Richmond. Cars 28 and 25 were leading most of this race. And there you see them running down low on the racetrack. They are running together. Harry Gant is up high on the racetrack, and they're trying to get by Harry right now. He's also been running strong. But those 2 cars, Yarborough and Richmond, have been the strong cars, and they are now back in the pack just a bit and have their work cut out to get up to the front.
Well, Cale Yarborough winding his way through traffic and nearly clips the rear deck of Tim Richmond. Richmond's car does a little bit of a bobble out of turn 4, and Yarborough now has slowed a little bit, some 3 or 4 car lengths back of Tim Richmond. A tight pack of traffic there. That's running for about 7th or 8th spot as Tim Richmond's on the bottom of the racetrack. That's Harry Gant on the outside in the green car. Then you see Cale Yarborough on the inside, the orange car, and that's Lake Speed in the car number 4. They go single file as Cale will make a move down the back straightaway on the inside.
Well, you also got a glimpse there of Rusty Wallace in car number 27. He has had another strong run here today. A young driver we've talked a lot about who is trying to really establish himself as Bill Elliott is your leader. Rusty Wallace has also had a great run. He's on the lead lap, and he's just behind Cale Yarborough. Again, Yarborough has been the strong car here today, but for the moment, it is Bill Elliott. As you see, Tim Richmond in car 25, Harry Gant in car 33, and that is Lake Speed, who is driving car number 4 for the injured Rick Wilson. Rick Wilson scheduled to drive that number 4 car, but could not start it because he was injured in a crash.
Well, Tim Richmond, you see they're running in 2nd spot, or back in the field. He and Harry Gant moving up through the pack, and Richmond hasn't had a good run here today, but he would like to pick up a win.
281 laps complete. Bill Elliott is your leader. But we have had a change in 2nd place. It is now Morgan Shepherd who is flying in car number 47, winner earlier this year in Atlanta. That car basically without a major sponsorship and running side by side. Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Bodine, they are really dicing it back and forth for 3rd place. Sterling Marlin, an interesting story. He is now running 5th, and there you see on your screen Morgan Shepherd, 44 years of age, out of Conover, North Carolina. Morgan Shepherd, really quite a story earlier this year when he won in Atlanta. Broke down in victory lane. Couldn't believe that he drove in that car to victory at Atlanta without major sponsorship.
That was his first super speedway win. He'd won previously back about 4 or 5 years ago in Martinsville, Virginia on the short tracks, and it was Jack Beebe, the car owner's 2nd win ever. He'd won at Talladega back in '81 with Ron Bouchard aboard. So Morgan Shepherd having a good run today, but right now the guy to beat is Bill Elliott. You know, Elliott's last win was back in '85 in Atlanta back in October. He didn't win at Riverside. He has yet to win this year. In fact, he's never won the World 600 here at Charlotte. His only win at Charlotte came here in '84 in the National 500. That's the fall event.
We also want to talk a little bit about the car number 1. That is Sterling Marlin. It's Cuckoo Marlin's son, and he's having a great run here today. 286 laps in, and he's still on the lead lap. He is running 5th right now in that Haas Ellington car, and that car is really running well there.
Well, it really is. And Sterling is the 1983 champion spark plug rookie of the year on the Winston Cup Tour, and they had a great run going in Daytona during the 500, and with just a few laps to go, they ran out of fuel and had a problem. They also cut a tire down and ended up finishing 9th. They didn't have very good luck in Atlanta. They had a 32nd place finish in Atlanta, 33rd at Darlington, and 39th at Talladega. But they do have a good run going here, and he is dicing it up now with Tim Richmond and Dale Earnhardt.
Tim Richmond now is taking 5th place. There you see the 02 car of Martin. Martin went into the wall and did some cheap metal damage on that car. Mark Martin is now in the pits, and he is down and away. But Tim Richmond's starting to make a move and show some of the strength that he showed us earlier in the race today. Richmond is now in 5th place. Sterling Marlin has dropped back to 6th. Tim Richmond is flying, and he's getting ready to challenge Darrell Waltrip right now, as you see. Waltrip trying to fight off Tim Richmond, but Richmond has had the horsepower on this racetrack today. He and Cale Yarborough have been the class of the field. Richmond comes down low on the racetrack. Waltrip is up high, and Richmond looks like he will take position away from Darrell Waltrip and move into the 4th spot in this Coca-Cola 600.
Well, Tim Richmond is hungry for a win. He has not won in 2 years. His last win coming in April of '84 at Wilkesboro, North Carolina. That's in the old blue Max car, and he would like to win one for his new car owner, Rick Hendrick. Both he and Jeff Bodine have the same car owner, and Richmond, who sat out on the outside of row 1, would like to move toward the front and capture his first Winston Cup win for '86.
Joe Rutman, car number 26, has the hood up on pit road. Our good pit reporter Mike Joy is down there. What's the problem, Michael?
Joe has run into somebody out on the race course. A bit of orange and a bit of white paint on his car, and you see a lot of black on the fender. That's the tire marks from the car that he came in contact with. It broke a piece in the steering, but you notice the sheet metal is fairly unbent, and so is the frame. If you banged into somebody like this on the street, your car would be on the wrecker and headed for the shop for about $2,000 worth of damage. These guys just replaced the steering parts, pound out the fenders, put on a new wheel and tire, drop the hood, and Rutman will be back in the race.
No chance at victory, but a chance to pick up some valuable Winston Cup points and to increase his standings as the year goes on. 290 laps are complete. We'll run 400 here. Bill Elliott is the leader. He has a 2.36 second advantage over car 47, Morgan Shepherd. One interesting story is Cale Yarborough, who is not running nearly as strong now as he did before that caution flag.
Well, you got to consider that a lot of the drivers have had a chance to come in and make some chassis adjustments to that last caution flag. And, you know, it's very important that stagger is important. It's the difference between the left side and the right side tires. They may have not gotten a good a matched set of tires on the Cale Yarborough car. He's not running that badly, but the car is pushing up in the corners on him over in turns 3 and 4. But he's nowhere near as tight on the racetrack. You see Cale coming down the back end of the car, bobbing and weaving a little bit as he bobbled there in front of Sterling Marlin, and his car not handling nothing like it was, or anything like it was early on.
Well, every lap by, Bill Elliott seems to put some distance on the rest of the field on Morgan Shepherd, who is in 2nd place and on back. Some changes down in the top 5. Jeff Bodine is still running 3rd. Tim Richmond has moved up to 4th, and Dale Earnhardt is starting to hook things up a little bit. He's now running 5th. There you see Cale Yarborough, who is trying to chase down Darrell Waltrip. That would be for the 6th spot out there. Waltrip, of course, the defending champion of this race. See Dale Earnhardt just in front of him. He's in 5th. And now Yarborough, up high on the racetrack, is going to try to take 6th place away from Darrell Waltrip. And again, you got a glimpse of the Wrangler car of Dale Earnhardt still running 5th, just a few feet ahead of them. Our Goodwrench pit reporter Steve Martin is standing by in Cale Yarborough's pit now. Let's go down to Steve.
Well, actually, we're in Bill Elliott's pit, lap 294, and the arithmetic now is vital. Looks like the rotation of the pit stops is just right, or maybe not just right. Could be somebody could be biting their fingernails on gas mileage by the time this is through. If you figure they get 65 to 70 laps per pit stop or per tank of gas, 22 gallons, they'll stop again between lap 332 and 340. Now, will they have enough to make it all 400 laps? They feel in the Elliott pit that they're in the right situation and they're getting good mileage at this point in time to finish, provided there are no cautions from here on out.
Thank you, Steve. The pits of Bill Elliott. 295 laps on the board now. And Elliott is the leader. Morgan Shepherd running 2nd. And there you get a glimpse of Awesome Bill from Dawsonville.
Boy, shades of last year, 1985, on the circuit when Elliott was able to pull away at will and just simply dominate the circuit with 11 pole wins and 11 victories, picking up $2.4 million in earnings. But Elliott has certainly had a rough season this year. And we might mention, Mike, for some folks who had not heard, that Ernie Elliott, the oldest of the Elliott brothers, 38-year-old Ernie, is back in the pits today. He has returned to the pits after being ill all year long. He was sick at Daytona. He has missed a number of races. He flew in here yesterday afternoon, and he is behind pit wall. He, along with the middle brother Dan, and of course Bill is the youngest of those 3. He's only 30 years old in the car. They are back as a team again, and it's pretty well evident that that has changed things for Bill Elliott. running as he is leading here in Charlotte.
Ernie Elliott, I saw him with his head inside that engine all weekend, and indeed it's made a difference. It's Ernie Elliott who is in pit road, who is on communications with your leader, Bill Elliott. Cale Yarborough started to make a move through the field. He is now running in 5th place. And we'll see if Cale Yarborough can catch up to Bill Elliott in just a moment. When we return to the Charlotte Motor Speedway after these messages from your local station. Looking down at the Charlotte Motor Speedway from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise. Quite a shot, quite a scene here at Charlotte today. We have had a change on the leaderboard. Bill Elliott's still the leader, but Tim Richmond is flying around this racetrack. He has overtaken Morgan Shepherd for 2nd place. Shepherd drops back to 3rd. Then it's Dale Earnhardt, and also making a move out there, Jerry Punch, Cale Yarborough. Yarborough and Richmond, the cars to watch to see if they can catch Bill Elliott.
Well, indeed they are. Of course, Yarborough was awfully strong early on, Mike, and you know, I think that the battle right now on the racetrack may be between the car number 3 of Earnhardt and Morgan Shepherd in the car number 47.
Morgan Shepherd has had a great run today. As we said, Mike Joy, our Goodrich pit reporter, standing by in the number 47 pits.
Morgan Shepherd is driving the only car in the top 5 without a major sponsor. This man, Jack Beebe of Madison, Connecticut, pays all the bills. And I guess that stack of bills is not so high when you get to enjoy a day like you did at Atlanta when you won.
No, that was a good field in Atlanta. We certainly, Morgan did a good job, and we needed that win to help the team. And the boys have been doing a good job.
What is your strategy right now with Morgan running behind Bill Elliott?
Well, we wanted to pick up that 5,000 lap 200, and we did that. And now we just cruise along, wait till the time is right, and we move up front.
So right now, there's no point in trying to run down and catch Elliott?
No, we don't have any more right-side tires. Goodyear doesn't have any more right-side tires, so we're trying to conserve the tires for the end.
So Jack Beebe and the Raceville Farm team with Jay Kelder, one of the Stork's top chassis men, as crew chief. They're going to play the waiting game for now.
There is car number 47. Lost another position during that interview. He is now running in 4th place. Let's do a race summary after 300 laps here. We run 400, so we have less than 100 laps to go here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 450 miles complete. We've had 6 cautions for 31 laps. It's been a relative trouble-free race today. 29 lead changes among 15 drivers. Our average speed, 137.300 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt starting to make a move a bit. He is now running in 3rd position behind Tim Richmond and Bill Elliott. Dale Earnhardt, the most consistent runner on this Winston Cup circuit this year. He is the Winston Cup points leader, and Dale Earnhardt has been pretty consistent all season long. Now, down in the Dale Earnhardt pits is our Goodrich pit reporter, Glenn Jarrett.
Standing by with Richard Childress, car owner for Dale Earnhardt's Wrangler Chevrolet. Rich, so far this year, things have been going pretty much your way, but today's been somewhat of a struggle.
Yeah, we just hadn't been able to hit the setup. We're the closest now we've been. We hadn't gave up. We're still trying. Maybe we'll hit it before the day's over. It's a long ways to go.
Well, this being a 600-mile race, it might be one of those times when you're glad that's the case. You've got plenty of time to work out a chassis problem.
Yeah, that rain last night, I think, caused us a little. We changed for the rain, and I don't believe we went quite right.
Does the car need one more adjustment?
Yeah, we'd like to get 1 or 2 more adjustments on it.
Still a little loose, or is it tight?
A little too tight.
Okay, that's the story from Dale Earnhardt's pit. The car's not acting just exactly like he wants it right now, but they're still willing to work on it.
Still some adjustments to make on the Earnhardt car, but if anybody can drive an ill-handling race car and make it work, Dale Earnhardt can do it.
Well, he has a reputation of being able to get a car out of shape, you know, it's almost 35, 40 degrees and gather it back in. You know, that's how he got started in this business. So this track right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, he was in a Busch Grand National Series race back in the late 70s, and someone saw him and said, hey, that kid can drive a race car. He puts a car where I don't believe a car can be able to be put, and he'd get the car sideways and gather it back up. So that was where he started, and this is not very far from his home over in Kannapolis, and he'd like to win one here in front of the hometown fans.
There's about a 5-second difference between those two cars, Richmond and Earnhardt up front to the leader, Bill Elliott, and it looks like Dale Earnhardt is going to move into 2nd place as he passes Tim Richmond low on the racetrack, and Dale Earnhardt in car number 3, to the delight of the crowd here, has now put his number 3 Wrangler car in 2nd place here in the Coca-Cola 600. Again, 5 seconds is quite a difference on the racetrack, and now Richmond comes down low. He wants a piece of it back. That looks like the Sportsman race yesterday, where those two were fighting it back and forth before Earnhardt hit the wall. Richmond, by the way, won that Winn-Dixie 300 yesterday. But right now it's Earnhardt who is in second place.
These two guys are pretty close friends on and off the track. They live not too far apart. Richmond, who's from Ashland, Ohio, now makes his home down here on Lake Norman, North Carolina, not far from the racetrack. And Earnhardt doesn't live that far in the other direction, so they're pretty good friends, and they would love nothing better than to beat each other on the racetrack.
Right now it's Bill Elliott who they are trying to catch. We still have a ways to go. You heard Richard Childress say, still a long ways to go. The strategy now, do you let it all hang out now that you know the race is past, or is now the time to make your move?
Well, I think you still have to be awfully careful about using up the car here. Even though we still we're over the 300 lap mark, you still have almost 100 laps to go. And here in Charlotte, that's 150 miles. Anything can happen. Cale Yarborough knows that he was leading here. He's been leading here a couple times in this race and almost had it in his grasp when something happened to his car with a few laps left before the end. And believe me, Bill Elliott knows what can happen. He was at Talladega, Alabama with 12 laps to go, looked to have the race well in tow, and the engine erupted on that car. They had a cracked piston on the car, and he had to go back to the garage, and that gave the victory to Bobby Allison. So I'm sure Bill Elliott may be thinking about that. He doesn't want to push the car too hard, yet he wants to stay out front if he possibly can.
One amazing thing about Bill Elliott this season, he had every opportunity and really every right in the world to get down. As you see, Cale Yarborough and Morgan Shepherd fighting for the 4th position on the racetrack. Elliott had every chance to get down when things started not going his way, but he kept a good attitude, kept his head up the whole time, and that seems to have really paid off, as now they're about to get things turned back around.
Well, they knew they could pinpoint some of the problems they were having with the car. They knew that Ernie's absence was a big difference. It was loss of concentration on the team, and having Ernie there, their leader. Of course, Dan Elliott, they got to give Dan a call. He had never really been in charge, but he worked awfully hard, and it was Dan who really orchestrated that car running so well at Talladega in the Winston 500.
Here's a good battle for 4th position. Morgan Shepherd, car 47, and Cale Yarborough, who led a good portion of this race. But on that pit stop for the weather, Yarborough, who stayed out on the racetrack for a good while, and then came in and down and off pit road, has not run as strong and has not been able to catch back up to the leaders. Our Goodrich pit reporter Glenn Jarrett is standing down in the Hardee's pit. Let's go down to Glenn now.
We're here with Waddell Wilson, crew chief on Yarborough's car. Waddell, the car seems to have fallen back a little since that last pit stop. Is there a problem?
Well, the first thing, we wasn't sure what the rain's going to do, and when you're leading the race, you know, the pressure's on you to make the decision of what to do. And we stayed out, and so did Tim Richmond. But that put us back in the pack, and our tires, this set of tires is not as good as what we've had. But the stagger's still the same, but it don't adhere to the racetrack like the others did.
So it is definitely a correctable problem then.
Well, you know, if we can get a caution, you know, we can adjust on it and change the tires and get the car going again.
So that's the story. If they can get a caution, they can fix the problem real soon. If not, they're just going to have to ride it out. As Waddell says, this set of tires just doesn't behave the same as the others did when he was leading the race.
Well, Cale Yarborough is running 5th after 314 laps. He's hoping for a caution, as are a number of these drivers. We'll return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway after these messages. With Jerry Punch, you see Bill Elliott, who has just put our in-car camera car of Kenny Schrader in car number 90 another lap down. It's kind of tough to look through that windshield, but just ahead you see a blur, and that blur is our leader, Bill Elliott. The other leaders will be passing Kenny Schrader in just a moment. Boy, those windshields really get dirty out there on the racetrack. Here's our leaderboard. Elliott's the leader. Earnhardt has moved now into 2nd place. Tim Richmond's 3rd. Morgan Shepherd 4th, and Cale Yarborough 5th.
And one car having a lot of trouble in turn 4, rolling on the bottom of the racetrack. That is Jeff Bodine.
Jeff Bodine has blown an engine.
Apparently the engine problem on the Bodine car, and the Levi Garrett Chevrolet makes its way down pit road, and Bodine certainly has had a long afternoon, and his hopes of winning the Winston Million go up in smoke here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
What a tough break for Jeff Bodine out of Chemung, New York. He hoped today to drive to victory, not only claim an extra $100,000, but keep alive a hope for a Winston Million. He is not going to do it as the hood goes up on the number 5 car. But despite that, it has been a good season for Jeff Bodine. He's one of only 2-time winners this year. Dale Earnhardt's won 2 races. And Jeff Bodine won the Daytona 500. He won last week in Dover in the Budweiser 500. So he has had a good season with Gary Nelson, the crew chief. But right now, there are problems, and I'm sure a sick feeling inside of Jeff Bodine.
Well, they came here and sat on the pole, and they had the momentum from coming from Dover, Delaware last week, where he won in Dover for his 2nd victory of the year. But that car now sits on pit road, and looks like it's going to be a long night. If they can get the car fixed, he will not have a shot at victory here, but maybe he can keep up his position in the Winston Cup points.
go down now to our good Red Pit reporter.
The problem is under the hood. It's the MSD. That's part of the electronic ignition system. It's kind of a black box. And once that has a problem, it's like most electronic equipment. The only way to fix it is replace it. It has come loose from its mounting on top of the roll bar underneath the hood. So Gary Nelson right now is tightening it down and checking the connections. If they can't get that fixed, they're going to have to replace it. Right now, they're working with it, but the car will not fire. Bodine looks like he's going to be here a long time.
And that is bad news for Jeff Bodine. Dale Earnhardt is really making moves on the racetrack. He has now cut the lead down to 1.64 seconds between Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott. Maybe driving around this racetrack, the cars just all of a sudden started to handle a little better, but whatever it is, Dale Earnhardt is closing the gap between himself and Bill Elliott each lap and each time by.
Well, Elliott now can see Earnhardt in his rearview mirror, and you got to believe that Bill Elliott realizes that if Earnhardt can catch his draft, the draft is effective for about 10 or 12 car lengths, so if Earnhardt can just get another maybe 4 or 5 car lengths closer, he'll catch on the rear of Bill Elliott's draft, and that will suck him right up against the rear of that Coors Ford of Elliott, and then we'll see a battle for the lead.
The battle for the distance between those two cars is now down to almost just 1 second as Earnhardt continues to gain, and we are going to see a battle for the lead here very shortly. 322 laps are complete. At 334 laps, that's the 500-mile mark. That's how far they run on most of these races. Jeff Bodine and the crew are walking his number 5 car, by the way. Now, looks like they're going to go behind the pit wall and try to make some repairs on that car. And again, boy, it's a dejected-looking crew down there with Jeff Bodine as they go behind the wall now. You can see the separation between Earnhardt and Bill Elliott in car number 9. Dale Earnhardt would love to become the first 3-time winner this season. He is the Winston Cup points leader and makes no bones about it. Thinks his team has the best shot at winning the Winston Cup championship in 1986. It is now 0.86 seconds. And we'd like to welcome KUSA in Denver, Colorado now, who has joined us with a Coca-Cola 600, 325 laps complete. And you'll see Bill Elliott in the lead. Right behind him, Dale Earnhardt in car number 3. Tim Richmond is 3rd, car 25. Cale Yarborough in car 28 is running 4th. The 5th place car is Morgan Shepherd in car number 47.
We should be seeing routine pit stops here in just a moment or two. We would expect the pit stop from at least the leader, Bill Elliott, to come possibly this lap or next lap, as we see the Coors crew on the pits are getting ready to signal Bill Elliott to bring him in, as he is slowed now dramatically, and Dale Earnhardt is making a move around it.
And Dale Earnhardt is just going to fly by Bill Elliott as Elliott's car has slowed. Could it be that the car may be coughing or sputtering a bit? It may be out of gas. But it is really slowing, and Dale Earnhardt is going to take over first place as Elliott tries to tuck in behind him and run now off of Earnhardt's draft to get back around this racetrack. But Dale Earnhardt, for the first time today, is now in the lead of the Coca-Cola 600. And that'll move Tim Richmond and Cale Yarborough up into 2nd and 3rd. And here comes Elliott, headed down pit road, and he will get full service on that car, some fresh tires, and, of course, a full tank of gasoline.
Here's Elliott in the Coors Ford. They will come down and make a routine pit stop under the green flag. 327 laps in the book, 73 laps to go. Right side tire change. The time in the right lower part of the screen, you see Ernie and Dan changing the right side tires. The Elliott crew working on the car as they are continuing to they have a little trouble with the right rear tire. The car still on the jacks, 16.1 seconds.
We have word on Earnhardt's radio that he thinks that Elliott has lost a cylinder. We'll have to see, but Dale Earnhardt radioed into his crew when he went by him that it sounded like to him that that Elliott had lost a cylinder. We'll have to wait and see. Cale Yarborough and Morgan Shepherd really dicing it back side by side as they are fighting now for the 4th position. Dale Earnhardt is the leader. Tim Richmond has now moved into 2nd place. And let's see if Elliott can get back up to speed. Mike Joy, our good Red Pit reporter, is standing by now with Jeff Bodine. It's got to be a disappointed Jeff Bodine down on pit road.
Jeff has gone into the trailer to change, and you're watching Randy Dorton, the chief engine builder on this car, and hope for that Michigan Engine Bearings Award. Randy? Well, they're back under the hood once again. They now think that it is the timing chain problem more severe than something simply with the MSD ignition system, and they're now working on the distributor to see if that is turning when the engine turns over.
Problems continue on the Jeff Bodine car, and he will not win the Coca-Cola 600 today and will not have a chance at the Winston Million. But Dale Earnhardt does have a chance to win his 3rd race of the year on this circuit. Earnhardt is the leader. Tim Richmond is in 2nd place. headed down the front straightaway, and he's running all by himself right now. Is that an advantage or disadvantage?
Well, he may be able to just take it easy a little bit. He knows that fuel is going to be very important. He wants to make just one more pit stop, and with 70 laps to go, you know, that's about 105 miles here at Charlotte, and he'd like to be able to make it a lap or two more, maybe even 3 laps more before he comes in. But he's got an eye on that fuel pressure gauge, the gauge that mounted in the dash that lets him know just when he's running close on fuel and how much fuel has he used. He may have a fuel meter in the car, we're not really sure, but he's coming out of turn 4, and Earnhardt has to be talking to his crew. His car owner, Richard Childress, on the headset with Earnhardt, trying to decide how long can they wait. Should they, if they take a gamble and don't bring him in soon enough and he runs out of fuel, you know, it could cost him the race.
Is this the final pit stop of the day? It looks like this might be it. They might be able to go the distance after they put fuel in this time.
I think if Earnhardt can take it easy coming in and getting out, he may be able to make it the rest of the way. You know, last year Waltrip won this race by going 73 laps at the end, but Earnhardt would only have to go 69 laps if he came in and pitted this time by.
There are 4.8 seconds difference between Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond. As Dale Earnhardt crosses the start-finish line, 332 laps are on the board. Dale Earnhardt is leading in the race for the Winston Cup Points Championship. Has he adjusted his driving style lately? Well, we spoke with Dale about this.
Well, at different racetracks, it's different situations. At Darlington, I was running a real comfortable pace, and I was running a lot faster than everybody else. And Richard says you need to try to pace yourself, slow down, you want to take care of the tires. And I backed off the car and like to wreck 3 or 4 times. So I just went back to running my pace. It was timing through 3 and 4. Getting around that racetrack, and I think timing means a lot there, and when I slowed down I missed my timing up, and that hurt us, so I went back to running how Dale felt good, and we went back to running a comfortable pace, and the car was comfortable.
333 laps are on the board. Dale Earnhardt with a comfortable lead in the Coca-Cola 600 will return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Coca-Cola 600 is a presentation of Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions, and you're getting a view of this racetrack from high atop the Goodyear blimp, and it doesn't look like Jerry Punch we're going to get any more rain today. Mike Hogwood and Jerry Punch with you, by the way, from high atop the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we are watching a great race as they are all pitting under the green flag.
And while we were away just moments ago, the leader, Dale Earnhardt, brought his car down pit road, the Wrangler Chevrolet. They changed right side tires on the car. A pretty good pit stop, about 17 seconds, but they held him. The reason the stop was a little bit longer, they held him to get that second can of fuel in the car. They wanted to get every drop of fuel in that fuel cell so he could go in the final 64 laps and complete this race here under the green.
Tim Richmond is also headed down on pit road. He is down in the pits. You see, they'll try to get every ounce of fuel in that car as well. 2 cans will go inside the car. Also coming down on pit road was Cale Yarborough. As you heard from Whitell Wilson, he needed a pit stop to try to get a better set of tires on the car. We'll see if he got it. Rusty Wallace is also on pit road now. Now you see Cale Yarborough. Our leaderboard will really shake up here as all the leaders have come down on pit road. And once they get down and away and all of them get in and out of the pits, we'll reset the field for you. But it'll be interesting to see now with new tires on if Cale Yarborough will be able to go to the front. Now Darrell Waltrip is down on pit road. So too Ricky Rudd.
Here's Darrell Waltrip bringing the Budweiser Chevrolet.
And
we have
trouble on the racetrack.
That's Alan Kolwicki's car, the car number 35, or 38 rather. It's Kolwicki, the Quincy Steakhouse Ford. He's one of the rookie contenders. He's from West Greenfield, Wisconsin, out of Milwaukee, and he certainly got in trouble and got a contact over out of turn 2 and has some damage on the front of that car.
I think that is car 35. It's just a swat he got on the side of the car that makes that 5 look a whole lot like an 8.
There's Kolwicki bringing the car in heavily damaged. That's the car that won here back in October of last year with Cale Yarborough aboard. That's a winning car that has been proven here as a winner in Charlotte, and it certainly doesn't look like a winning car right now because it has some pretty heavy damage on the right side. They will go to work on the car and try to beat some of the sheet metal out and change right side tires.
Jerry, let's take a look at it again. Alan Kolwicki took a hard right into the wall. Looked like he cut a tire down.
Well, he may have cut a tire down, but I think someone gave him a little help over there. Another car behind him sort of giving him a shove. Looks like maybe that he got together with another car and got sort of turned a little bit toward the wall. He gathered the car back in and kept it away from the inside wall, which could have been a devastating hit for him. He got the car straightened back up, so it could have been a lot worse than it was.
That is Alan Kolwicki out of Greenfield, Wisconsin. It's Quincy's family stake Ford, and he is still on pit road getting some repairs done to that car. Hopefully he'll be back in the race in just a moment. Mike Joy has caught up with Jeff Bodine down in the pit. Let's go down now for a Goodwrench pit report. Michael?
Well, Jeff has managed to change and climb out of his Levi Garrett uniform. What finally put you out?
Well, camshaft-itis. camshaft broke. The second one this year, and I don't know what we got going here. We got to find a problem. We thought we had it figured out, but I've got a lot of confidence in my engine guys. They'll figure out what went wrong, and we'll come back strong again. Mike, we were down early this year after Daytona. Had a lot of problems, came back, won Dover. A great win. We might be down a little bit right now, but we'll come back. The Levi Garrett Exxon crew, too strong.
Well, you battled them all out there today. Who looks tough for these last 100 miles?
Who's leading? Whoever's leading is tough right now, I'll tell you. It keeps swapping back and forth, and we weren't really in the race until just at the end here, and then the car got a little too tight. It was loose, then it got too tight. We were going to make another adjustment, hopefully be right in there, but I hope my teammate wins. He needs to win for Rick Hendrick Motorsports, so now that we're not out there, I hope Tim wins. Earnhardt's running good, Waltrip, a lot of cars.
Did it feel tough having to wave that chance at the $1 million goodbye?
Well, I just feel really fortunate. It's a great opportunity for a man in this world today to have that opportunity to go for $1 million bonus. We can still go for $100,000, but the chance at $1 million, that just made me feel so good. Made the whole team feel good. We're disappointed, sure, that we didn't get it, but we feel good that we had the chance. We're going to come back next year and go for it again.
Well, Jeff Bodine has the Daytona 500 and last week's Dover victory in his pocket, so he still has something to smile about.
And he is smiling. That's good to see him. Great attitude by Jeff Bodine. By the way, his teammate Tim Richmond, who he talked about, is now running third, but a considerable distance now behind Bill Elliott, who is really stringing out the field a bit. He still has the strongest car out there. Dale Earnhardt is running second, Richmond third, Darrell Waltrip in fourth, and about a half lap behind Cale Yarborough is fifth.
And Mike, a story we may want to look into here is the fact that the leader, Bill Elliott, pitted on lap 327. That means he'd have to go 73 laps on one tank of fuel. And you know, the Fords are notorious for not getting as good a gas mileage on the super speedways as do the General Motors products. So I'm not really sure if he can go 73 laps. In fact, I believe he can't go 73 laps. And if he can't, that means he has to come in for one more stop or a dash of fuel, and that may cost him the win unless they get a caution flag.
The other car involved with Alan Kulwicki was Phil Parsons, and it's down and away on pit road. It was in for a rather lengthy stay to get some stuff hammered out. Kulwicki is still on pit road. There you see Bill Elliott. So a question, if we stay green, we have completed 345 laps. We run 400. Will Bill Elliott be able to go the distance? Let's take a look at the leaderboard now. As we told you, the top five, Elliott, Earnhardt, Richmond, Waltrip, and Yarborough. That's 1 through 5. Earnhardt seems to have the best chance now of catching him. He is gaining some ground on Bill Elliott. We'll check and see if he can run him down in a moment. We'll return after these messages from you. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike Hogwood along with Jerry Punch. 350 laps complete on the board now, and Bill Elliott is still the leader. But look at Dale Earnhardt, car number 3. He has really closed the gap. It was 4.8 seconds. It is now less than a second, and Earnhardt is gaining every lap. He is almost into the draft of Bill Elliott.
Well, about 5 car lengths separating the front 3 cars, Mike, and that is Elliott on the far left of the screen, Earnhardt in the middle, and Tim Richmond in the car number 25. The front 3 cars, as Earnhardt and Richmond have reeled in Elliott, and they'll begin to work on him. Now is no time to save anything. 50 laps to go. Go ahead and make your move. And Dale Earnhardt probably has been told from the pits, go ahead and move him. Go ahead and push him a little bit. They probably think that, like we talked about it a minute ago, Elliott can't go all the way on fuel. And if Earnhardt gets up there and really pushes him a little bit, makes him burn up some fuel, he knows he won't be able to make it. So if Earnhardt feels pretty comfortable he can make it, he only has to go 64 laps, whereas Elliott has to make it 73.
Well, let's check on that fuel situation with Bill Elliott. Let's go down now to the Elliott pits. Goodwrench pit reporter Steve Martin standing by.
Mike, I've got Dan Elliott right here. You came in lap 326. Can Bill Elliott go 74 laps on that tank of fuel?
I don't think he can. We'll just have to. We're going to go as far as we can go, and then we'll come in.
Hope for a yellow.
Well, as long as it's not for us, we'll be okay.
Any other problems with the car? Dale Earnhardt seems to be making up some time.
No, just run along and hope to go all the way.
Dan Elliott talking about Bill Elliott's cars. They're trying to conserve fuel and play it as it comes near the end of this battle.
Well, Jerry, that's why we have you up here in the booth. You're right on the money. Even Dan Elliott doesn't think he can go all the way.
You know, and superstition, too, in the pits, every time a crew starts praying for a yellow flag, it usually get one, but it's usually their driver. so you don't want to ask for yellow flags or caution flags. If they happen, they happen. But as Dan Elliott so eloquently put it, we'd like to have one, but please don't let it be Bill.
Yes, Bill Elliott really could benefit from a caution flag in these final 50 laps here in the Coca-Cola 600. Morgan Shepherd had to come down on pit road and take on 4 tires. He had a tire going down. He lost valuable time on the racetrack. You see him now in the lead pack, but he went a lap down, I believe, when he came down on pit road.
And Morgan, you can tell how much fresh tires means to a driver here. Morgan looks like he's going to move on the inside of Elliott. He's going by Earnhardt now, so a fresh rubber does make a difference on the car. His Buick now moving past Elliott, and Elliott's not really concerned with Morgan Shepherd. He just wants to keep Earnhardt behind him.
Well, let's see how Dale Earnhardt can do on fuel from here to the end of the race. Glenn Jarrett, another one of our Good Run Pit reporters, is down in the Richard Childress, Kirk Shelmerdine Wrangler pit.
Well, there seems to be no problem right now, Mike. Richard is very confident that Dale can indeed go the rest of the way on fuel. He says that's not a problem at all. The car is not driving quite as well right now as it was before he stopped, although he said it wasn't bad. So he is aware that Elliott cannot go the rest of the way. He says that he feels like the race, should it go the rest of the way under green, will be between Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond because they both can finish on the fuel that they have now.
Well, Tim Richmond is some 12, 15 car lengths back behind now Dale Earnhardt, behind those 2 cars of Elliott and Earnhardt. But interesting, though, that Earnhardt already knows that he feels that Richmond will be his strongest competitor down the stretch because he knows if it stays green, then Elliott is going to have to come in for gas.
And we'll update on that Morgan Shepherd pit stop. He came in for 4 tires, as you said a moment ago. He lost 2 laps in the pits. What a tough break for a driver who's been working so hard all afternoon. Jack Beebe, his car owner, who wanted to get a good finish here. Morgan Shepherd now 2 laps down.
Well, he made up one of the laps. He is now out in front of Elliott, so hopefully he's only a lap down. And if the caution comes out, maybe he can still have a strong finish here today in Charlotte. Lap speed for Bill Elliott, 152.974. That's slowed down considerably from the pole speed of 164 miles an hour run by Jeff Bodine earlier in the week. But for right now, it is Bill Elliott who owns this race, the Coca-Cola 600. He is out in front of Dale Earnhardt and trying to hold him off. But Earnhardt is up high on the racetrack, and Earnhardt still wants a piece of Bill Elliott as they come across the start-finish line. Earnhardt running a very high groove, and he is now tucked right in behind Bill Elliott. And Dale, known as a hard charger, aggressive driver, wants to take that number 3 car right to the front, and look at how high Dale Earnhardt is running on the racetrack.
It looks like Earnhardt really has a good shot out of turn 4. The car really getting off of turn 4 very, very well. And Elliott pulled his car down on the bottom of the racetrack that time out of turn 4, and Earnhardt had a shot on the outside of him. Now both cars are up on the outside, working outside of lap traffic as they move around the slower car. And here they come. Earnhardt this time doesn't have a move on Elliott because of lap traffic. That's Kenny Schrader, our in-car camera there, as they go around it.
They're going around our in-car camera of Kenny Schrader, and Elliott maintains the lead and kind of uses Kenny Schrader to block off the racetrack a bit and still stay in the lead on lap 358. But again, keep in mind, Bill Elliott is going to have to stop before this race is over and take on fuel. Dale Earnhardt will not. So Bill Elliott has to right now have both fingers, his hands crossed and everything crossed, and some kind of caution comes out, and it is not for him. Good Run Pit reporter Glenn Jarrett is standing by in the pits of Tim Richmond. Richmond is running 3rd right now and should be the main competition for Dale Earnhardt if this race stays green. Glenn?
Okay. We're standing by with Harry Hyde in the Tim Richmond pit. Right now he is checking lap times, trying to see if Tim is indeed cutting the distance down on Dale Earnhardt. Harry Hyde, does Tim have a problem as far as gas mileage is concerned? He is still checking that watch right now, so he's not going to talk to us right away. He is in conversation right now with Richmond on the radio. We'll get a word with Harry in just a moment.
Okay, Glenn, and Harry Hyde is one of those guys sometimes when he gets involved in a race, you know, you might mention these crew chiefs are awfully nice to members of the media and television crews during a race, and they'll take time out to talk and tell what's going on. One of the great things about this sport is you can really get involved in it, get inside in it, and learn what's going on. But Harry that time was on the radio with Tim, and they were setting up some strategy.
Well, they really are. There's only 40 laps to go. They've been here for 4 hours now, and it's all coming down to these last 40 laps. They've got to decide what they're going to do. If a caution were to come out right now, what kind of tire change would they make? Would they come in and change 4 tires? Would they change 2 tires? What kind of kind of chassis settings would they have on the car. You know, it's very, very important to have that all set aside. If the yellow flag were to fly, they want to bring Richmond down, get him in and out, and give him a shot at victory here today.
Tim Richmond's running third. Dale Earnhardt second. Bill Elliott, Awesome Bill, is the leader. Here's the leaderboard, and you see Cale Yarborough and Darrell Waltrip still chasing, but everybody's chasing Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. We'll return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Place you do not want to be running under 50 miles an hour is up against the wall, and that's where Harry Gant found himself just a moment ago. A kind of scary incident, but Harry's driving ability really helped him save the car there. We'll take a look at it now, what happened as we approach lap 365. Well, apparently we don't have the replay, but there is Harry Gant running around the racetrack. And he did have a little tangle with the wall, but everything appears to be fine and dandy on the car, and Harry hopefully can drive on home to a good finish today here at Charlotte.
Well, sometimes you can't help it when the car gets a little bit loose late in the race and you're running up in the high groove just a few inches from the wall, the car will tend to slip and slide a little bit out toward the outside retaining wall. Let's see if we can see what happened to Harry Gant at the Skull Bandit Chevrolet. Here's Harry up in the high groove. You see Darrell Waltrip in front of him, and Gant's car slipping a little bit. He's trying to pull it down, but no, he brushes into the wall. Then he pulls the car down to the left, almost overcorrects the car, gets it straight back out. It wags back and forth. I'm sure Darrell Waltrip got a good view of that shot as Harry Gant was able to save it. That's what a veteran driver can do when he tags the wall. Now Harry's going to go up and make a move again on Waltrip.
Harry's still trying to chase down Darrell Waltrip. That's the battle for 5th place. As Darrell Waltrip right now owns 5th place. He's the defending champion here in the Coca-Cola 600. They've got a long way to go now to catch Bill Elliott, who's the leader. Dale Earnhardt still running second. Harry Gant high on the racetrack. Got too high just a moment ago. We'll have to hope that he stays out of the wall this time, and he is going to get by Darrell Waltrip. Harry Gant will take over 5th place now in this race. 368 laps are complete. We run 400 here, so we are approaching the late stages of the race, and if anybody was holding anything back before now, we're not going to do it now. Now it's time to let it go and let it all hang out. Our shot from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise. And you can really see what a great, great crowd we have had today here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The sun is back out, and there's the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise providing our aerial views. Goodyear Blimps have been overhead in America's major sporting events for more than 60 years. And they certainly give an added dimension to this race here today.
Well, Mike, one of the odds-on favorites to win this one right now has got to be Bill Elliott. I think he's one of the sentimental favorites from the crowd here. He hasn't won this year, and although Dale Earnhardt lives not far away from here in Kannapolis, North Carolina, and a lot of the hometown folks are here to watch Earnhardt, there's a lot of folks who have been cheering that young 30-year-old Dawsonville, Georgia driver, Bill Elliott, hoping he'll pick up his first win. You know, Elliott set an all-time motorsports earnings record last year at $2.4 million. In fact, Waltrip also set a record at $1.3 million. The old record held by Mario Andretti set back in 1984 at $931,000. Wow. Not a bad year, is it?
Not a bad year at all. Let's go down now to our Goodrich pit reporter, Glenn Jarrett, who's standing by at the Harry Gant pit.
We checked with crew chief Travis Carter on that little incident that Harry Gant had with the wall up there. He says he doesn't think that it did any serious damage to the car. It hadn't slowed it down appreciably, so he's really not too worried about it right now. He says his biggest concern is trying to catch Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond, so he's not worried about the little tap with the wall. Again, late in the race here, the cars have to run up so high toward the wall, the slightest little slip by the driver, and the car can get in the wall, but no serious damage done.
There are now 30 laps left to go. 370 are on the board here at Charlotte. Your leader is Bill Elliott, but remember, he is going to have to stop for fuel before this race is over. Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond do not. Cale Yarborough and Harry Gant do not have to stop before this race is over. They're the top 5. 6th position now, Darrell Waltrip. Sterling Marlin is in 7th. Then it's Ricky Rudd, who has really come on. We haven't talked about him much at all today, but Ricky's run consistent all day long. And Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte, car number 44, is in 10th position. We talked about the separation between Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond and how that probably, if we stay in green, will be the race for the lead or for the win. There is a 1.8-second differential now between Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond. Mike Joy, our Goodrich pit reporter, standing by now in the pit of Dale Earnhardt.
Well, if this man looks like the cat that swallowed the canary, it's for good reason. He's car owner Richard Childress. He owns the Dale Earnhardt car. Richard, you won't have to stop, and you know that it looks like Bill Elliott will have to stop. You were in the pits 10 laps later than Bill, and that, well, with about 62 laps to go, you can go the distance.
Yeah, we can go. We went 64 earlier, so we should be able to go that far this time.
And it's highly doubtful that Elliott will be able to run 74 laps.
Now, he'll have to stop with about 10 to go, 8, 10 laps to go.
Are you talking to
watching the number 25 back there right now. That's our concern.
So their concern is not the leader, but it's that third-place car, Tim Richmond.
Very, very interesting. It's while Bill Elliott is certainly delighting the fans here and leading the race, Dale Earnhardt, the second-place car, is not that concerned about it because he knows that Bill's going to have to stop. Instead, his concern about Tim Richmond, car number 25.
But the whole complexion of the race could change. All it would take is one slippery or sliding car on the racetrack and bring out that yellow flag, and all that strategy would go out the window, and Elliott would come in and get some fuel, and they could make a tire change, and that would probably put Cale Yarborough and Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip, all those cars, back in the hunt for the victory here at Charlotte.
No one likes to see a caution, but indeed, if we did have one, it would probably make a fantastic finish here in the Coca-Cola 600.
Well, I got to believe we're going to have one anyway. I think that Elliott is probably going to try. You know, I don't really know how long he's going to try to bring the car down pit road, and they'll slosh some gas in it. Hopefully they can get a gallon or two in it and run those last 7 or 8 laps, but it ought to be very interesting.
Well, the difference still just about a second and a half between Earnhardt and Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt doesn't really seem to be too intent now on chasing down Bill Elliott, as we heard from his pit. Richard Childress not too concerned about him at the moment. It has been quite a season for Dale Earnhardt, as he has won 2 races on this Winston Cup circuit. But the most amazing thing about it is that he has been in contention for the win in almost every race, and had it not been for some late lap things, Dale Earnhardt would have had 4 or 5 victories this season. He's definitely been the dominant driver. 375 laps are complete here in the Coca-Cola 600. Your leader is Bill Elliott. Dale Earnhardt is close behind. We'll be back live. And you can see from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise, that's the difference between Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt. We now have 20 laps to go here in the Coca-Cola 600. It's been a long day, but now it turns into a 20-lap shootout. And the question is, will there be a caution? Will Bill Elliott come in and get fuel before this race is over? He's going to have to, but how long will it take? We have a story on fuel consumption in these cars down on pit road from our good friend pit reporter Mike Joy.
Bud and Greg Moore are talking about the way Ricky Rudd's car is running. They're the father and son team that work on this automobile. We'll get a word with Greg Moore, who does the cylinder head work on these engines. Now, the Ford and the Chevrolet engines are the same size, but Greg, why can't the Fords go as far on a tank of gas as the Chevrolet engine cars?
Mainly, Mike, it comes down to the fact that the Ford engine overall, even though you can make good horsepower, is not as actually as an efficient motor. And it takes more gasoline with the Ford to make the same power it does with the Chevrolet.
How much of a difference in miles can the Fords go versus the Chevys?
Do what?
How far of a difference in miles can the Fords go on a tank of gas than the Chevys?
Most of your Chevrolets can run close to, say, 100 miles at most racetracks. The Fords have trouble running much more than about 95.
Well, you can bet that if there was a way to get more mileage out of these cars, these are the guys, along with the Elliots, that would find it.
There is Ricky Rudd, who is making a top 10 run today, and a good run for Ricky Rudd, who has one win earlier this year. He won in Martinsville on a short track, but Ricky Rudd and that Motorcraft Ford started to come together a little bit there.
They really have, and Ricky has been trying his hand at some other racing. He's run some IMSA races, International Motorsports Association races, and a Jack Roush prepared Ford, and he's had a good run. He won at Martinsville earlier in the year. He would like to have a win here in Charlotte. Doesn't look like he'll get it today for his car owner, Bud Moore, on his 61st birthday.
Interesting to note that in those IMSA races, he and who? Bill Elliott were teammates in that IMSA race.
Kyle Petty and Ken Schrader, all 4 of those guys shared the same car during the Daytona 24 hours.
Well, you see they're getting ready to put some fuel in that Elliott car. They have the fuel can raised high. We'll keep an eye out to see if Bill Elliott comes in. 383 laps are on the board. Is this early to bring him in? I guess they wait till the last second that they possibly could, but he definitely doesn't want to run out. And here comes Bill Elliott down pit road for a splash of gas to be able to finish this race.
I expect his fuel pressure began to drop, and he called and said, I got to come in now. So here's Elliott, a quick stop. They put that one fuel can in. They're just going to quickly brisk off the windshield. Time in the lower part of the segment, 4.1 seconds. Just probably got enough, 2 gallons in the car. Hopefully that'll be enough to finish for the Corey Ford.
But he did lose the lead, and it will be tough for him to catch up now with Dale Earnhardt. He has to hope for a caution flag still to have any chance of the race. And there's your new leader. He's struggled all day long, but Dale Earnhardt has dogged it and just fought and fought and fought. And lo and behold, here we are, 15 laps from the end, and Dale Earnhardt's in the lead.
You know, sometimes you just have those years, and this seems to be Earnhardt's year. He has been dominant on a lot of racetracks. He had some trouble. He ran out of gas at Daytona with 3 laps to go. He and Jeff Bodine were fighting for the victory there at Daytona 500, and he ran out of fuel. vehicle came down pit road. They had to try to restart the car. They put ether in the motor to try to restart the car to prime the carburetor. It blew the bottom of the engine out, and therefore he had to park it at Daytona. He has had a lot of tough luck, but he has won twice so far this year.
Those two wins were back-to-back at Darlington and North Wilkesboro. Mike Joy is standing down now in the Dale Earnhardt pit. Let's have a good wrench pit report from Mike.
Well, there were a lot of relieved faces on the Richard Childress crew when Bill Elliott made that pit stop, and it put Earnhardt #1 on the leaderboard. They can go the distance on tires. But if the caution flag comes out and makes it a 3 or 4 car race again, well, you see what they got on this tire? You resort to plan B.
I like it. Well, let's hope. I know Dale Earnhardt's hoping he doesn't have to resort to plan B and put new tires on and come down pit road. 386 laps are complete. Again, we run 400 here in Charlotte. The difference between Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond, 3.1 seconds. That's the lead that Dale Earnhardt has on Tim Richmond and the rest of the field, and the difference between winning and second place here so far in the Coca-Cola 600.
Earnhardt's going to be awfully careful now. He moves up around Rusty Wallace. He's got to make sure he stays away from groups of cars that can slip and slide. The drivers are getting tired. They've been here for 4 hours, 4.5 hours, almost 600 miles. One bobble by a slower driver or anybody in front of him could end his day. He needs to be very careful. You see him back away a little bit and get a running start against Rusty Wallace there. Rusty, a young driver, and he's respected a lot by Dale Earnhardt, but he wants to make sure he catches him when there's only one car there, and he can slide by him on the inside.
His best finish in the Coca-Cola 600 was second back in 1984. He's the leader now. Tim Richmond is second. Then it's Cale Yarborough, Harry Gant, Darrell Waltrip, who is the defending champion of this race, and Bill Elliott has now dropped back to 6th position. Elliott goes from 1st to 6th by coming in and getting that splash of gas, but Elliott is pulling up on the back bumper now of Darrell Waltrip and is trying to take position away. There you see the car of Bill Elliott, number 9, taking on the defending champion of this race, Darrell Waltrip, in car number 11.
Well, next time by, Mike, we should get the 10 laps to go signal for Dale Earnhardt. We should be showing 10 laps to go from flagman Harold Kinder, as Earnhardt is going to try to take it easy now. He knows that he should have enough fuel to finish. You heard Mike Joy talking to Richard Childress. They're okay on fuel, but they don't want to push their luck. As I said before, they've run out of fuel 3 times this year. They ran out at Daytona, they ran out at Atlanta, and at Rockingham. So they've had some bad luck this year, but not today. Hopefully Earnhardt is hoping in that car that he can nurse it home, just have enough fuel to run those final 10 laps.
Earnhardt down now out of turn 4, and he comes out of the dog leg now on the front straightaway, and he does get the 10 fingers from Harold Kinder. 10 laps remain here in the Coca-Cola 600. Dale Earnhardt has things in hand. He's just hoping to hold on and stay out of trouble. A 2.64 lead over Tim Richmond now. 2.64 seconds separate Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond. That gap has closed now by about a second. So either Tim Richmond is gaining or Dale Earnhardt is starting to take it easy, and I don't think that that's Dale Earnhardt's style. So we may have a race here before this is over after all. Is there enough time? Are there enough laps left for Tim Richmond to be able to chase down Dale Earnhardt?
Well, I can't believe that Earnhardt's going to let Richmond get too close. I mean, he's trying to take it easy in that traffic and gently work his way around, but he's got an eye back there. He's also got a crew there. He's got people on pit road, and they're really anxious now watching the lap times and the interval between Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond. They're probably timing it. Every time Earnhardt goes by, they're telling him what the interval is. And so if it comes down to a last lap or two, they'll go ahead and tell Earnhardt to pull out the plug and go ahead and move away.
Earnhardt with 17 career wins on the Winston Cup circuit. He's out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, 34 years old. He's number 1 right now in the Winston Cup point standings for 1986. And he has led more laps than any other competitor on the Winston Cup circuit this year. And as Jerry said, he has been in position to win several laps or several races so far this season. Tim Richmond runs 2nd. Cale Yarborough is 3rd. Harry Gant is 4th. And Darrell Waltrip, the defending champion, is now 5th. Bill Elliott, who led for a good portion of latter stages of this race, is now running in 6th place. But it is Dale Earnhardt who is the man to beat right now.
Well, Earnhardt, by winning today, would not only garnish quite a bit of funds from winning here in the World 600, but also he would improve his point lead here in the NASCAR standings. And there's a mid-season payoff this year for the first time ever. Over $500,000 will be paid out just before July here at the midpoint of the season. And if he could stay up on top of the points, he'd pick up a tidy sum of cash.
There is a very special relationship. We told the story once. I think we ought to relate it again. There's a very special relationship between Dale Earnhardt and the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, Well, Dale Earnhardt certainly got his start here. It was back in the 70s when Humpy Wheeler gave him an opportunity to come here and help him out a little bit and bring one of his little jalopies here. Earnhardt didn't have much money and didn't have a lot going for him at the time. He had a little short track car, and he brought it here to Charlotte. The fenders were sort of flapping on it. He had them all cut out. It wasn't one of these sleek aerodynamic cars that a lot of people bring here. And he ran one of the sportsman races. And someone saw him, a fellow by the name of Rod Osterlund, a millionaire from California. He saw how competitive this young man was. And the car was not supposed to be competitive, not supposed to be fast, and a front-running car. The only problem is no one told Earnhardt the car shouldn't run up front. And up front he was all afternoon. And Osterlund put him in his car, and the rest is history. The next year, Earnhardt ran 5 races in that same car, and the following year, 79, he won Rookie of the Year and went on in 80 to win the Winston Cup Championship.
The battles between Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott is for 5th place, but as you see, Waltrip putting a few car links now on Bill Elliott. Again, that is the battle for 5th place as they go past Kyle Petty, who stays down low on the racetrack. There's your leader, Dale Earnhardt. We have 5 laps remaining, 5 laps to go in the Coca-Cola 600. The battle for 2nd place is between Tim Richmond and Cale Yarborough. And it has been a strong run for Cale today.
And Cale has been able to run Richmond down now. They're in turns 3 and 4 as the laps wind down. We're showing 5 laps, and Cale will try to make a move on Richmond. Mike, as Cale really is filling that rearview mirror on the Folger Chevrolet.
Now, won't this racing between Richmond and Yarborough really help Dale Earnhardt as he tries to run away for victory?
Well, I think it'll help him quite a bit. Earnhardt realizing that unless he makes a major mistake or unless there would be a problem with his fuel, he's going to be okay. He's got about a 4.5 or 5 second advantage now over Richmond, but Richmond's got his hands full with Cale Yarborough, and with Cale's experience, and Cale would like to finish second. He'd like to win it, but he right now has the best shot at finishing second.
Dale Earnhardt just passing the lap car of Mark Martin, the 02 car, and Earnhardt again will come by, and this will put 397 laps on the board. 3 laps remain. 3 laps to go here in the Coca-Cola 600 as Richmond and Yarborough continue to battle for that 2nd place spot. They see Neil Bonnet, who is not running up to speed, down low on the racetrack in car number 12, and flying by Richmond and Yarborough. Cale Yarborough, even though he may not win today, you have to talk about him in a very positive light because he was a lap down, and his Cale Yarborough's style, he just fought and battled, got back on that lead lap, and now he's fighting Tim Richmond for 2nd place.
Well, Cale never gives up. He never says die, and that's what makes him the competitor he is. And right now, though, he's got a young driver who's an extremely aggressive young driver in the name of Tim Richmond in front of him, and Richmond's not going to give anything away. He's trying to pull away from Cale Yarborough now as Dale Earnhardt still hanging up front. There's a separation between Richmond and Cale Yarborough, some car length and a half, and now Cale's going to make a move down the back straightaway. He's going to try to reel him in.
Well, we'll see if Yarborough can reel down Tim Richmond. Meanwhile, coming out of turn 4 and heading down the front straightaway will be Dale Earnhardt. He will get the white flag this time by from Harold Kinder. 1 lap to go for Dale Earnhardt to win the Coca-Cola 600. And Dale Earnhardt takes his Wrangler machine into turn 1. He's in the middle of turn 1 now, heading into turn 2. He has no traffic around him. No chance really to get into trouble as he slides by a lapped car there. Dale Earnhardt alone on the racetrack in the middle of the back straightaway. Our battle for 2nd place again is Richmond and Yarborough. Is Yarborough still running 3rd? Heading into turn 3, it's Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt looks like he can coast home now to the Coca-Cola 600 victory. Earnhardt, the crowd is on its feet and waving as Earnhardt now on the front straightaway. The checkered flag is out. Dale Earnhardt wins this race, and it's going to be Tim Richmond who takes 2nd from Cale Yarborough. Yarborough will finish 3rd. An exciting finish for 2nd place. Harry Gann is 4th. Darrell Waltrip is 5th. And congratulations to Dale Earnhardt. You see the excitement in the pits down there as Dale Earnhardt has just won the Coca-Cola 600.
And a jubilant Wrangler crew as Tim Richmond will pull up alongside Dale Earnhardt to congratulate his young friend, as Earnhardt now waving to the crowd, some 150,000 strong here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, as Richmond signals him to congratulate his friend. Earnhardt picks up the 3rd victory of the year in the 1986 season.
Well, he becomes the first 3-time winner, as you said, on the Winston Cup circuit. A great day for Dale Earnhardt and the crew. You have to give some credit to Kirk Shelmerdine and Richard Childress. The car was not handling well at the beginning of the race. There were problems with the car all day long, but they fought, and the old rule, never give up, really came into play today for Dale Earnhardt.
Indeed it did, and you got a feel for Bill Elliott, Ernie Elliott, and the crew that thought they might have had a victory within their grasp, but the fuel mileage again came up to bite them, and they had to come in for that last second stop, and the crowd cheering in the background for Dale Earnhardt as he makes his way toward victory lane.
Well, look at this crowd here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today. A great crowd. They saw an exciting race. Dale Earnhardt has driven it home to victory, and Earnhardt now will pull his number 3 Wrangler Chevrolet into victory lane. Mike Joy is standing by down there. We'll get a word with Dale as soon as he climbs out of the race car. Again, Tim Richmond second, Cale Yarborough third, Harry Gant fourth, and Darrell Waltrip, the defending champion, was fifth. The car is now into victory lane, and it's got to be an all smiles from Dale Earnhardt inside the cockpit of that car as he takes a drink of water. We'll be back to victory lane to talk to Dale Earnhardt, the winner of the Coca-Cola 600, when we return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt has won the Coca-Cola 600. Mike Hogwood along with Jerry Punch. Exciting race today. Tim Richmond finishes second, Cale Yarborough third, Harry Gant fourth, and Darrell Waltrip fifth. Appreciate our overhead shots all day from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise, piloted today by Dr. Jim Maloney. Down in victory lane, Mike Joy is standing by with the winner, Dale Earnhardt, for a Goodwrench pit report. Let's go down to victory lane.
We're trying to figure out who's tireder here, Richard Childress' crew or Dale Earnhardt. My vote goes to the driver, but these fellas have really worked for it, and I think maybe they kind of vindicated themselves after Daytona. But Dale, what a hard, tough, and look at you, hot afternoon out there.
It was a tough one. I'd like to thank the good Lord for a good, safe day and no rain, and for letting this Wrangler Goodwrench Chevrolet run so good. Kurt and all the guys did a heck of a job. We were off at the first of the race, pulled a little higher gear than what I thought we should have pulled, but after the track came to us, we were just right.
The cool suit, I noticed you taking it off there before you got out of the car. How big a help was that for you today?
Definitely an advantage. I didn't run it all day. I ran it off and on periodically, and made a difference.
Dale is a little whipped. He's going to have a seat. And take a look just behind him here, if you will, on the door of this car. It is pretty well scraped up with tire marks. Were those anybody's in particular, or just the riggers of running around this track all day?
Well, it's a slick racetrack, and, you know, it's pretty clean out there. Bodine got into me pretty hard a couple times, but, you know, that's racing, I reckon.
We'll let Dale catch his breath here and have a quick word with car owner Richard Childress. Richard, you guys had the faith. You knew Bill Elliott would have to stop and that you guys could be there and survive.
Well, you know, I was proud of the whole team. You know, we worked with Dale all the way through the race, and he kept telling us what he needed on the car, and we kept trying to hit it. And, you know, at one time we felt like we wasn't going to get it, and then everything came around. I'm just proud of the whole crew, and Dale done a super job. And Wrangler and Jim Goodwrench for putting the money behind us to be able to be here.
This team works hard and they play hard. And today, they worked hard. They'll have a little spending money to play with. Congratulations. Thank you. Let's go back upstairs.
Thanks, Mike Joy. And I'll tell you, Dale Earnhardt looked whipped, but he deserves to be tired. He's a happy tired today because he is the champion of the Coca-Cola 600. We'll return live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway after these messages. And it was a great day today, as we said, for Dale Earnhardt, who won this race. Tim Richmond finished second, and